What up, iFi?
What up?
What do you want?
I thought we were here to ask questions. I got questions for you.
Oh,
You got
okay.
answers?
No.
Oh. So are we trying to get in touch with Josie now or something? Because I almost had her for a panel the other day.
No, I'm trying to get out of touch with her, which I am, so I'm just trying to continue not knowing her.
I was about to say, I thought you're still on the blacklist. She's in the
Well,
Glen Grid
I'm
1
on
games.
multiple blacklists, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Speaking of
Jody,
blacklist,
hold up. Jody
right.
D, well, I'm not in NYC, but let's say it's more than 200. All right.
Ooh,
Let's just say that. I don't want to get too fancy, but
luxury.
well, you know. All right, so go on.
Uh, Oh, so I said, speaking of blacklists, am I on a blacklist now, or what? Did I miss a memo or something?
Oh, you can get on one. Do you want to be on a blacklist?
I guess. I mean, every time I
Did you take
show
a
up,
23 in me?
a 23 in me. I don't know
Yeah,
what that is. Is
it's
that like
for
a
your
DNA
DNA.
sample?
Yeah, no
Oh.
shit.
Not yet. Should I?
Cynthia, no, it's not gay when you do it. It's only gay when Josie does it. You don't have those little yappy dogs, do you, Cynthia? Even if you do, just lie to me. I prefer to be lied in this case.
It is gay when you cook for your dogs. You should make them hunt for their own survival. Keep them wolves.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Mine
Anyways, I noticed
killed
that
a couple
you've been
rabbits.
angry lately.
Ate
So
them. I've been angry.
yeah, like the past couple times I stopped by, you're like, I'm not even gonna highlight your comments. Fuck you, Wi-Fi. I was like, what? What
Wait.
happened?
What did you say about my members here?
That they smell bad? I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
When was I
We're gonna
talk
do a
about your
little
members?
poll. Yeah, you talk shit on my members, iFi.
When? Are you sure it was me or
Say it
the
again with
other
that
fella?
high pitched question voice.
When?
Yeah. So you said, what did you say? I think you said that they were gay. I think that's what you said.
Super gay, probably.
All right. So we're gonna put up a little poll here, right? Just for iFi. In this way, we can get get an answer. Chuck trying to dump you off already. We didn't even
Ooh.
we didn't even do the poll yet. All right. So am I angry? Am I angry?
Look at him gritting his teeth while he's typing. He's like, am I
Or
fucking angry?
is iFi gay? Right? Is that proper? That
Super
sounds
gay.
like a
Got the super
professional.
part.
Yeah.
No, Cynthia, I did not syad that. Not for ire. Not for anyone. By the way, Cynthia, I didn't know you were a StarCraft fan.
All right. Now, I tried to make this as professional as I could. I realize we're on YouTube. You know, there's rules, and I don't want to, detract from my professionalism. So, with that said, let's read. Damn, how far back am I? Let's read some money chat. Thank you, Chuck, coming in with the $2 hot, saying
Dump
dump
him.
him. Yeah, I mean, look, in all fairness, iFi is worth at least the new mic that he bought. What was that, $36?
I paid 36 and then it went on sale for $30. So now I feel bad. I overpaid
As you should.
$6.
As you should. And Flow State says eggplant. I think that stands for penis. I could be wrong. Chuck coming in, iFi is kind of cute. Chuck,
Dump me. Now
Chuck,
you're flirting with me, Chuck.
do we need to do we need to go this route, Chuck?
So
I
regardless,
slept with
hey,
him
so
once.
who gives? God damn it, Chuck.
Speaking of flow state,
And then he never called me back. Speaking of
Well,
flow state,
maybe you didn't behave well. Could that be why?
So what is this rumor that I've been talking shit about your audience? I never talk about people's
No, you
audience
said it to
members.
me. You said it. You said that my members are gay.
Well, that's true, but I mean, I don't remember saying that. But
All right,
I
everyone,
won't
make
debate
sure to
it.
cast your vote. All right, we want to make this uber professional, right? We want to get the answer. We're just trying to get to the truth. And Carpenter, what story? I told a bunch of stories. Which one? Oh, about iFi?
About the
I
magic.
don't even remember
teapot.
how we were talking. Something about my membership. And oh yeah, that's what it was. And you were like, "Why would I do that? Your members are, or your membership is gay. Your members are gay."
Who? What? In what context was this?
I
said?
don't
Was I
know. You
talking
said
to
it in a
somebody?
pretty gay context. I want to keep using your words, but that's
Was I
essentially
talking
what
to
it
you?
was.
Was I talking to
Yeah,
like
you were
my
talking to me.
audience?
What? How would you be talking to me and not talking to me? How would it be both?
Well, sometimes you stream other people's stuff, so I didn't know if you were like watching one of my streams or something.
Have you
I may
seen
have
me
said it.
watching your streams? Have you seen that?
On occasion.
Is
Sometimes you even
iFi is,
show
is
up.
iFi trying to manipulate the situation? Is he trying to dissuade from reality? Is that
I'm
what's
trying to get the
happening?
money higher. Come on, we gotta talk about real money, people here. $2 ain't gonna cut it. You gotta send in the angry money.
All right, 14 votes so far, and we at 79% iFi super gay. I don't know. Look, you're still here, so maybe you can sway the audience's opinion. Maybe some of them will vote differently.
Um,
I don't see it,
I
but, you know.
I have
Right,
a
who
sham
knows? Who
marriage
knows?
where I married a person who looks like a woman. It might be a woman. I don't know, but I'll ask her next time I
You would
see her.
ask your wife that?
Yeah, I'll say, "Are you really a woman?" Because maybe she's just been playing all these years. I might be gay. I don't know. I'll have to ask her.
You know, this had nothing to do with that, by the way. So it's kind of weird you took it to that place.
That's usually where like Cynthia or Flo take it. So I just figured I'd
Oh, now it's
give a
Cynthia
shake.
and Flo's fault, right?
Definitely 100%. I
Yeah,
still
I
haven't.
can.
I still haven't heard any argument that your audience is not gay, including your audience chiming in and saying they're not gay because
Well, here's the thing.
it's been
Here's the
said.
thing, is I'm super based, but because I'm modest, I don't call myself. I don't refer to myself as super based, but I am, and therefore, my audience. Where do you not see the connection? That's what I can't understand, and neither can you, unless you can. Let's hear.
I'm part of your audience, so is this like Inception or something? How's that work?
So this was a self snitch, right? You were trying to
See, Range.
gaslight. No, hold up. You were trying to gaslight the rest of the audience
Did it work?
because you were referring to you and not them.
Exactly.
But now you gaslighting.
Word.
Yeah, Cynthia's not feeling you.
Of course she doesn't, because I'm a dude.
Yeah, Lizard Tree, I get so angry. Do you see like the veins popping out of me and I can't control the words coming out of my mouth? It happens all the time, right? I'm still waiting for a clip, you know. I mean, I'm sure
Okay.
somebody could get a 2-second clip of me, you know, in troll mode, absolutely. But I don't know when I've gotten angry on YouTube. Like, I don't know. If it happened, I'm not aware.
I got angry one time, but
I
luckily my
seen you.
buddy
I had to boot
booted
you
me.
off because you lost your shit. But you see, that same thing hasn't happened to me. That's what makes us different.
I like Izzy. She's like the free, like those stress dolls where you like squeeze their head and they pop or something, or like a punching bag. That's what she's good for. She's
Damn.
a good
I mean,
stress
that
doll.
didn't sound too good. You're saying that she'd be good as a punching bag?
Yeah, just like rip into her for a while, get all that stress out of your system. I think she does it on purpose. I think she trolls for the anger inflaming.
Well, let's back up, iFight. So let me ask you a question. How can well, I could say another person, but I want to go with woman, right? Because you're a
Okay.
man, you're a leader, right? Out of conservatory, isn't that how it works? Christianity, you believe in the order of
patriarchy.
mankind, the patriarchy. So how is a leading, strong, masculine man like yourself? How is he losing his shit with some woman on the internet, no matter what she says?
I guess sometimes you gotta put them in their place, either verbally
But you
or
didn't do that.
physically.
Well, hold on. Let's not change the conversation. You didn't do that. You didn't put her
I'm
in her
still here for the
place.
conversation. I've never left. So
You did. You actually got booted. Left.
well, yeah, I got booted by a more insecure man that couldn't handle the masculinity in the room. So too much testosterone. I agree. And so sometimes we put them in their place verbally. Sometimes men resort to physical violence. I prefer verbally myself. So it may have sounded scary, but I guess it's better than like knocking her teeth out or something. So which I kind of wonder if that's what she gets it to in real life. Like she just keeps pushing that button, trying to see how far they'll go. And
Yeah, but here's the thing: you fell for it.
fell for what, dude?
You got
You never told the chick
triggered.
off.
You got
You
triggered.
never told. You
No, no,
never
no.
told the chick
I
off.
have. But you see, I've also grown up, right? And you
All
older
right.
than me, from what I understand. So
That's true.
it's not
There
an
you
age
go. There's
thing.
proof.
What is it?
Sometimes
A maturity? So I'm asking you, why do you think that is? You haven't answered me.
Sometimes even old dudes kind of lose their cool. So I mean, it's not like a perfection thing or
No,
something.
you're absolutely right. Age is not always correlated with wisdom. It's not always correlated with internal strength. You're right. But that isn't the point. I'm asking you, why do you think it is that, in this case, Izzy could trigger you to that degree?
I think it was a combination, first of all, of Flo plus Izzy. So see, you keep pretending like it was just Izzy. In the equation,
Oh, it
but
was
there
Flo too. Hey, hold up. Hey, MC Nemesis, you banned for life. I'll see you in the backstage. Goodbye. You dead. All right, carry on.
Nice try, Nemesis. So more to your exact equation, it's not just the combative women. It's also the subversive men that kind of also play that.
Okay. So you're
1-2
saying that
punch.
Flo was being subversive and Izzy was being combative.
Right, and it was the 1-2 punch that kind of
So-
kicked me up into the next gear.
No, I got you. So here's the deal. I'm going to give you an analogous situation, which I would say was much harsher than yours. Me on Glenn Lawrence's panel one night with Andrew Wilson. I think you saw this at some point. This was months ago. And literally everyone on stage coming at me. And coming at me with bullshit, bad faith, dirty debate tactic, all sorts of dumb shit. And I didn't lose my cool once. Now, granted, to your point that you would try to go down and be a failed point, but none of them were women.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you
Sounds
think
good.
it is that I wouldn't get triggered, but you do by a much lesser scenario? Could it be
for
that
some
you have some
reason-
things to work on still internally?
No, we all do, but
That's true.
I think you're starting to turn this into some weird like focus on stoicism is like the final form of the ultimate.
When have I
Alpha
ever
chat.
promoted stoicism? Have I ever even said stoicism before now on stream?
You're doing it right now. You're arguing.
Oh, now
for
I
the-
said it. No, look at the gaslight. He said stoicism. I repeat it, and now I promoted stoicism. Okay.
A form of it,
So
yeah,
do you
when-
think
when
that's
you-
what it is that I'm
When
promoting
you argue
stoicism?
that like that, real men don't ever like move or respond or show
no, never,
emotion or anything
never
like that.
promoted that. No, never promoted that.
It kind of puts this like fantasy view of like being like a stone figure makes you the most alpha male or something, which I see your point, but there's more
Well,
to being a man than that.
I'm semi humbled that you think of me like that, but no, I think that when men are losing their shit, and I have in the past. But I also, as an adult at 18 years of age, would not have considered myself a man, right? And to be clear, I think it's an ongoing journey. And to your point, right, we can all work on some things. I just wanted to see if you were going to admit it. I don't really care.
I
But it'd
admitted
be
it
good
about
for
5
you if
minutes
you admit
ago.
it.
You weren't listening.
No, I
said-
did
yeah.
hear you, and I was explaining why I went down that line of questioning.
Okay, works for me. I think we all learned something today. We're all growing and getting better.
Are
I
we?
feel better already.
Well, let me ask you, how do you know when you're getting better?
When we can admit when we make mistakes and improve upon them.
Yeah, but
Remember, I
that's-
even
that's
told
kinda
her I was
vague.
sorry for going off on her. Remember that? So
Well, I remember you saying sorry. I don't think it was to her, but you did apologize after. I don't remember if it was like vaguely, but either way, yes. And by the
it
way,
was
I
mainly
also
directed
said
at
that.
you. Yeah, but it was
Well, yeah,
also for
and
her.
to me, there was no apology needed.
Which again, I already knew that. So why would I apologize to you? So
I don't know,
It
but you
was-
just said you did.
it was to make sure, just in case any offense had been received on your end, which I didn't think there was, but
I'm
but,
yet to be offended.
I also know that directly apologizing to her would play into her game, so I didn't want to just make it too easy on her. I wanted her to kind of like work for it and earn it eventually, but
Okay.
she fucked it up. So
And
Moving on.
Jeff, let me address coming from your chat. It's fine to get angry on YouTube. I'm not the anger police. You can do whatever the fuck you want. However, I tend not to associate, and I don't mean this towards iFi, but we've seen extreme examples. Okay, GS. Right, it's fine to get angry online. You know what? I'm not even going to answer now. You tell me, is this fucking fine?
You can't sit here and say that I've asked you for help for 40
I'm doing
minutes.
it right fucking now.
What
I'm
can I
fucking
do?
asking right now.
Are you
Right
stupid?
fucking now.
Are you stupid? I think you're fucking
Holy
stupid.
fucking shit,
Hey,
Rabbit.
Hey, dumbass. What fucking
Yeah.
help
Oh,
can
now
I
I'm a
do for
fucking
you?
dumbass.
Hey,
Now I'm a
what
dumbass.
help can I
Sorry,
do
dude.
for you right now, dude? I'm sitting here on a fucking panel with you. What help can I do for you, Todd?
Are you that
This isn't
stupid?
helpful. This isn't
Yeah.
helpful.
So yeah, I mean, if you think that's fine, Jeff, and that's how you want to live your life, who am I to stop you? Do your thing. But I don't know. Let's ask iFi. iFi, what do you think? Do you think that? Because I'm not referring to you as GS. Obviously, you wouldn't be up here right now, or at least we wouldn't be conversing like this. I would just be trolling the shit out of you. Until you cried uncle and could at least admit, but we're not there. So my point is, what do you think about that whole thing, GS, the way he acts at times? That little clip I just played, for instance.
yeah, we've already covered him. So again, he's got demons. He needs the proper help. He's not going to get it here on YouTube. People like Richard are probably better people for him to talk to. That just ignoring it's not going to make the problem go away. Again, I made it pretty clear that if you can't take the heat, you just got to get out of the kitchen.
Stay out the kitchen. I agree, and that's up to individuals to regulate. I would call it, right? If self-regulation means get off the internet more, or get off of certain kind of parts of the internet, like social media, Facebook, whatever it is, cool. Jeff, anger is a normal emotion. Yeah, it is in the range of normal emotions.
But controlling your anger is what separates the men from the animals, Jeff. That's what you're not hearing, dude. Read the room.
And again, everyone can do whatever they want. But I would say, do you want to, I don't mean this towards you, I just mean this in general, but do you want to look like this online? Like to promote this picture, this person?
I busted my ass. I've accentuated your channels. I've promoted your channels. I'm tiny. I'm just some little dude. But I'm willing to bend over backwards and stand in the gap for you, with you, by you.
And granted, that wasn't GS angry, but that is him, I think, getting into his emotions in terms of, you guys owe me something, right? I helped you out so much. This type of thing, this kind of indignation towards other content creators who really make fun of him. I haven't seen any real hate at him, but I have seen him spew out real hate. Or so it would seem.
Lizard Tree, I thought you were one of the cool people. Quit
Lizard
getting
Tree is
confused.
cool. One of our members. Hey, wait a second. What the fuck were you saying earlier? I'm one of y'all. You are not a member here. that was how this whole shit started, where you said my members were gay. All right, we got to check the
I thought we were
poll.
talking about your audience. You got to distinguish the difference.
No. We were very clearly talking about members.
Oh yeah, members.
we
are
got
super
we got
gay.
votes
That's-
coming in hot. Hold up. All right, so we're gonna end it at 26 votes. That's a nice round even number ish. And look, 27%, 26% said I-Fi gay, 73% said I-Fi super gay. So that's their opinion, of course, right? It's not necessarily a fact.
True, but I'm not member gay, which is a step above super gay. So I got that going for me.
Yeah, Lizard Tree don't like you anymore.
Oh, Lizard Tree, take me back. Come on. I'm
And,
on everyone's blacklist now.
OTW, I don't think that you ask, can we be emotional men? Yeah, again, anyone can be whatever the fuck they want to be, right? You can be a tuna salad, whatever you want to be, you can be. With that said, are you going to get the best results out of life? I don't know. I suppose it depends on who you are. Maybe Michael Jordan or Jackson or any of the maybe they could have been super emotional men and still did what they did. I don't know. But with that said, how is it when you are not just an emotional man, but you are not in control of your emotions around, assuming that you have family? How is that going to go? Is that making a good example? Is that, conducive to relationships?
Okay, so
yeah,
real
and
quick
King
on
Philip, you're right. Yeah, you're totally right. Go on.
the resident gay expert, Gen X Jeff, just said I-Fi is not gay, so your poll is invalid.
Well, that's a
And,
different kind of gay. We don't talk about that gay. Again, I
okay.
don't judge anyone for being
I do.
any sexual orientation or trans anything. I don't care. It doesn't
I do.
matter to me.
That's
Oh, you do? You're against that shit?
oh yeah, totally.
So
But,
you're
Lizard
against
Tree-
Jeff, who is sticking up for you
Yes,
to some
yes.
degree.
He knows very well that
Wow.
I'm not cool with the gay stuff. Lizard
Okay.
Tree, what I am against is lying about people. So when you say that I support beating women, that's a lie, Lizard. You shouldn't lie about people. That's bad. Stop.
Who
spreading
lied about
lies.
people?
Lizard Tree. Lizard
How did
Tree's having
Lizard
a
Tree
meltdown.
lie? I didn't see any lie. What are you talking about?
Scroll through your comments. The last one was I-Fi. I did not know you support beating women. What the hell? So,
Well, Lizard Tree did not lie. You said that Izzy would make a good punching bag.
for someone, like I said, she loves
So
to
therefore,
troll.
you're supporting the idea of that.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that's
Well,
good.
no, you are.
I'm saying that's what she wants.
No,
and
you
so
said would make
she
a
can get
good
it.
one. Would make a good one. That is promotion of the idea. What?
Oh,
how would you
okay.
like to change the semantics?
Yeah, technically speaking,
Technically speaking, okay, Lizard. Technically, you're not a liar.
There are men that like to beat women, and so Izzy is a perfect match for those men. You got me there, Lizard Tree. I do agree with that equation. I personally do not support beating women. So if you've ever listened to anything I've ever said, that even though I'm a fan of the
But you just
patriarchy-
personally said it. You personally
even though I'm a
promoted it.
fan of the patriarchy, we don't beat our women into submission. We just, verbally put them in their place. And so that was the point I made crystal clear earlier. But Again, some of your members are so gay they can't get the gay wax out of their ears and hear what I actually said. So that's all right.
More look, chat. Now that we know earlier he was referring to the gaslighting, remember? He's speaking about himself, so don't take it personally, members. You know he doesn't mean that. He couldn't mean
Super gay. That's right.
that. All right. Again, about himself. We get it.
But anyways, Lizard Tree, no, I did not condone or encourage physically beating women. I was saying that Izzy is one of those special cases where even when you verbally put her in her place, she keeps on pushing the button because she wants more. She wants that Hulk anger to come out and start smashing shit.
Well,
So-
if you think about it, she had a good. I'm not saying she should have done that, but I'm saying she had a good nose for thinking that it would trigger you because it did trigger you.
mission
And that was
accomplished.
sort of showing you a weakness. Now, you might
Oh,
not
yeah.
like her for that, but I don't know that that makes her bad in the way that you are maybe suggesting that it does, right? Because now you're saying she would make a good punching bag for someone because of that.
Yeah, that was my point. Was that
But you could say you wouldn't want to wife her, but
That
to say
some
that is
women-
sort of spewing vitriol, right?
some women are wise enough to know that once a man is putting them in their place, they know when to stop. You know, they know like that's when the line is being crossed. And so some women don't know any better and they just keep pushing that button until their teeth get knocked out. And then they act surprised. They're like, how dare you hit a woman? I can't believe it. And then there's people like Lizard Tree over here saying, see, I supports beating women. And so that's why I don't have this conversation.
Okay. Well, no, I think this is good. We're going to clear up some things. So first of all, let's clear up there's never been a patriarchy. That's some figment of your fucking imagination, right? That's
Since the
some
beginning of
turn of
time.
phrase to describe history in a way that sounds good to you. There's never been a patriarchy. Men have always been the brute force in terms of physical power comparatively, and women have always had a complementary and therefore very different level of power when it comes to the other side, right? The mental, social, etc. Right? In terms of women are able to manipulate in ways that is sort of a reflection of how men can manipulate physically through strength. So this idea that, I know it sounds good to you, but there's been a patriarchy which really ignores, so to speak, the queens behind the kings that you don't know about. I have read a lot of history and I understand this. And no, I have not read books about matriarchy, nor am I suggesting that that's what we're living in. But I'm suggesting that you have sort of a false premise of reality in that term. So
What's it
point
called
being,
when the go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, point being is that some women, and for that matter, some men, but if we're talking about our distinct differences, some women are better at sort of invoking that sort of thing than others. And in that case, if you're not, if man is not able to deal with it and does resort to violence, you know what's going to happen. He is going to get in trouble legally and otherwise. But aside from that, wouldn't you say that's the wrong thing to do in terms of physically, men are, when we're talking about physical power here, physically, men the strongest, then women, then children. And of course, you can argue that there's technically minor boys who could outpower adult women.
Easily.
But are we not supposed to, as men, protect women and thereby, and in conjunction with women, protect children to the best of our ability? If we're, forget all the buzz pop bullshit words, if we're to aspire to be good men.
Indeed, including protect them from themselves. So what is it called when the men are the heads of authority, power, all the above in a society? What's that word?
Yeah, that's
Is it a
never happened.
Patriarchy. That's never happened in
happened.
history?
No. No, see,
So all
that's
throughout
where, that's where
history,
you're not
men
able
were
to
not-
see reality.
So all throughout history, men were not the leaders of their houses, their
No,
villages,
no. This
their
is not.
kingdoms.
This is not the distinction. If we're talking about leadership, then yes, men have been primarily the leaders, and probably until now, so where men still lead, but in many terms, it's handing the reins to women. And you know, depending on the situation, you know the result of that. So, with that said, you're ignoring the fact that behind a lot of the powerful men in positions of power, were women calling shots in different ways, similar to the experience that you had that you found to be aggravating, but in a different manner, a different manipulation to get a different outcome. So although you see it as very black and white, patriarchy, well, men are officially in charge, right? There's no women in politics or whatever. To think that women still weren't involved to a higher degree than it seems you're giving credit for, I think is a bit oblivious.
Well, I guess we read different history books because most of the ones I read talked about how since the beginning of time, women weren't even allowed in rooms of discussion about decision making or authority. Women were often treated like property. They could be, you know, sold and traded like property. They could be beaten to death for even contradicting a man or whatever. And so, you know, that's just the history books I read.
And that
I don't
still
know, maybe
can
y'all
be.
had
That,
different-
that changes nothing. We just went over that. We just talked about the
That's
clear
what the patriarchy
distinguishment
I was referring
in
to.
power.
I don't know what.
Oh, okay, so make-believe land.
History.
All right, well, then for that purpose, it still exists. Right? Because a lot of the women in positions of power now probably have more test than the average male in society. But
And
I
the only
suppose your
example I can think
distinguishment
of-
would be on penis. But, you know, people are changing that now. So is that really... so you would just talk about chromosomes? Would that be your argument?
Yeah, it depends on the topic, but yeah.
Okay. So getting back to, well, you did mention one thing. We could go on a side note here. So protecting women from themselves. How would you take that with the interaction you were referencing?
So again, I was trying to show her an example of like what happens in situations where women don't know when to stop. They don't know when that line is, and so I was giving her an example of this is what it sounds like right before you start crossing that line.
Right, but
And
hold
so-
on. Well, let's pause.
ahead.
I'm with you.
Mhm.
But that line is across the internet. Right, so
It's
it's
different.
buffered, it's padded. Right, it's different than if you're face to face.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you can say that, you know, because she's hiding behind the internet safety, that's why she feels more bold.
Yeah, but
to
could
speak
say that
way.
about you too, and me, and everyone, right?
No, again, in
What do you
real
mean
life,
no? What do you mean no?
I mean, in real life, you know, I don't separate my discussions between internet discussions and real life discussions. I know there is a difference, but I don't talk more shit on the internet than I do in real life. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. I understand some people do that. That's fine. I'm not
I
saying
talk
that's
different
what I was
shit.
engaging.
Like I will get crazier in real life. I mean, to a degree, not crazier, but more outspoken at times, but selectively. Right? Don't always say my thoughts. Like I'm reviewing a video with Josie. I wouldn't have told her those things if she was passing by me. Right?
Yeah, but
And,
I would. That's the difference with me, though.
Oh, okay. Maybe you would. Rude
Yeah.
Mudcrab, thank you for the $5 super chat. Most men accomplish what they do in pursuit of women, and he thinks men ruled the world. LOL. Coming from Rude Mudcrab, thank you. You got anything for that?
Again, history books, just crack it open. Yeah.
Well, look, you said, well, we must have read different history books. No, well, maybe we read the same exact history books, yet we looked at it differently. We interpreted it differently. We were thinking to different levels outside the box. And you do realize these history books, who are they written by? What we could vaguely
because we
describe
were in
as the
charge of
winners.
everything.
What's that?
The bin, because we were in charge of everything.
Right. So for that point, maybe we didn't know some of those things. When I say we, I mean broadly, we men didn't realize some of that, what one might refer to as inception, was happening. Do you think that men are just as based in that regard as women? I mean,
they
if
got a
so,
natural
then what is
advantage.
if so? Well, let me just ask you: if you do, then what would you say is the complement, the distinction that sort of makes up for men's brute raw strength in comparison with women? If it's not that, I'd be very curious to hear what it is.
I didn't completely follow the question. Can you rephrase it?
No.
Okay. Since we
So
got some time,
I'm
I'll go-
saying if you
Okay.
don't think that you believe men wrote the books, I'm with you.
Yes.
And I'm saying, do you think that all men who are writing them, or most of them, knew that they were in a funnel, per se? Did they realize all of the decisions that they did were coming from them and their pursuit, or in pursuit of, in part at least, women? Right? Meaning could be the wife, could be the future wife, whatever the case. A million different scenarios. But do you think that men always realized why they want to do what they did? I'm referring to inception. Right? The best salesperson sells you something and you don't know that you bought it. In a sense. Right? I don't
I'm
mean
trying to follow
literally.
you here, dude. So I get the point that, obviously women create the motives and the desires that lead men to making certain decisions. But again, that doesn't make the decision any less the man's.
Well,
unless
it
you're saying
does.
that they're-
It does make
they're-
it less of the man's.
Okay.
Well, you're saying because of where it came from, that because men execute it, therefore, am I tracking your line?
I'm trying
The
to
deep-
figure out any way to analyze this. So you're saying that a lion is not the king of the jungle because the deer are influencing their decisions on what meat they're going to eat
Well,
that
well,
day
hold
or
on.
something like that.
Hold on. This isn't a binary. Well, the deer influence it. It's to what degree? And what I'm saying is, it sounds to me that you have underestimated the degree to which women have had a covert power in situations that it seems that you believed were patriarchy. I mean, that's what you call it, right? We need to get the patriarchy back. And I'm laughing because there's no such thing. I mean, sure, you can make the term fit your narrative, and I guess in that way you're correct. But I think that your intent in using that word, what it means to you, is inaccurate.
Again, I agree with your analysis of the women being even sort of behind the scenes pulling strings or whatever and stuff like that, but that's still a bit of a stretch to say that therefore it's not truly a patriarchy. It's more like some sort of complicated dance in which each partner takes a turn trying to one up the other or something. I don't know where you're going with this, dude, but I'm trying real hard. I'm trying to guess.
Well, I think that
what you
we
mean.
understand the same truth. It's the delta is the degree of which the impact, right? For instance, maybe in an extreme example, that the king, I'm saying in an extreme example, the king may have been a complete and utter puppet. And because he carried out the will of, let's say, the queen, you're saying, no, he was totally in charge, even though she was pulling all the strings for the purpose of this example. Are you following now?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, well, supposing you're following, what say you?
Yeah, you're right. There was no patriarchy. It was all an illusion. It was
Based.
the women pulling strings. It was women all along with the astronaut behind us with the gun.
Well, hold on. Don't make a wholesome argument. We both agree that men are leaders, right? Men have been the leaders. Did you agree with me when I went further and said, even in nowadays, when many men hand the reins over to women directly, right? Like, for instance, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not shitting on anyone's situation. I know everyone is different. There's many variables in life. But for instance, husband signs everything in wife's name. She's the one in charge of all the finances. He's working 3 jobs. She stays at home. They have no kids. I'm trying to make this an extreme example here. That he's handing her the reins in many regards, right? Legally, financially, pragmatically. You might even say he's sort of a slave in the situation that I'm describing, right? But did he not still lead the relationship situation in order to give her those powers? Meaning he could revoke them, but just like all the slaves of the world that still exist in a very different term, that they don't realize that they can push back, right? They don't think they have the power to do anything, or at least they think that power really sums up to voting, which I think you and I see similar on this, that is a mistake.
Yeah, I agree. We need to change the system.
Well, that's not what I said. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that people changing will necessarily change the system from the micro to the macro. Right now, the idea of, well, let's change XYZ law, whatever it is. And I realize laws do get changed, right? New bills come out. There's new laws. I don't know how many a year. I had looked up at one point. I think it's in the hundreds federally. Does that sound about right? New bills, new laws that get enacted?
Probably.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that those are a reflection of the people. So the idea that individuals will not change and therefore community in the macro picture, right, all of the citizens, the idea that they do not change, but the laws now change is kind of silly. Right? Like when I say change, I mean get better, right? We're going to improve politics, yet people aren't going to change. That's some magic bullshit. That's magic sauce.
Well, how are you going to change the culture, though?
Hello. How are you?
Hey, what up, CJ?
Hey,
Working
TJ.
on my radio.
Hey, your mic is a bit low. Let me do a little test.
Testing. Do you hear me?
Yep, very good. I turned you up, and that was better. All right, cool. What was your about society? How are you going to change this then? Well,
The
here's how I intend to change it. Right, in very small ways. Right now, you may write this off and say that's too small, but the point is, if everyone has the mentality, which they don't, but I'm saying if they did, then we wouldn't be talking about, oh, it's so small. It would be everything. It would be very big. That's where we go from the micro to the macro. So what I try to do is instill the truth, or at least dissect ideas to get the bullshit buffers out of the way so that people actually do have a better understanding of what reality is, as well as what they don't understand. Right? Too many people don't know what they don't know, and they're sort of voting blindly. And when I say voting, I don't just mean literally in an election. I mean with their time, money, and attention. They have a very difficult time, again, I'm not referring to everyone, but it seems most people, drawing a connection from the micro to the macro and the meta. It gets too convoluted. They get lost. They get caught up on details that inevitably don't really matter.
I was wanting to ask, if I can real quick, where, other than history books, does this type of relationship between men and women actually exist at? Like, I've never seen that.
What?
The thing that IFI's wanting with the
Oh,
woman,
patriarchy.
shuts
A
up.
patriarchy in which the men are the head of the houses and the tribes and the
I mean, it
cities and
sounds
government.
great. Have you ever seen it?
Since the beginning of time, the only exceptions
I mean,
were
Since you've been alive?
during the ancient Chinese times. They tried a matriarchy for a while, and so that went to shit. So they pretty much stopped doing that since then. The only other time is in recent times. Modern times, feminism has brought back the idea that, hey guys, have we tried this matriarchy thing yet? Let's see if it works. You know, that's what they're doing right now.
We're just trying to take society currently and completely flip it and like act like that's going to happen.
Right, and what I'm saying is the idea of flipping politics without people changing is retarded.
I hear you.
It doesn't add up. The math don't work out.
So
Don't need to be a
one of the other-
mathematician to tell that.
One of the other problems, since people don't like black and white examples, they try to bring up the gray topic of women and men are 50-50. And so let's ask the panel on that. Do you think that would solve society's problems if all men and women were treated equally 50-50?
No, equality is non-existent, and I don't want to get too much into it because I have a video coming up soon on it. Let me side note real quick, Michael, but the laws aren't dictated by the masses. They are published by banks and the like, which use monopolistic fraud to seize power. Michael, I agree with you. With that said, people allow it. If we, the people, wanted to stop it, we could. We absolutely could. And it's defeatist or black pill. I'm not saying that you believe it couldn't happen, but it's defeatist black pill bullshit programming to think that we can't. Now, I'm not going to argue that you and I could be the only ones trying to do it and end up falling, you know. But I'm talking again about the micro to the macro. If even, what was the number representation? 3%, right? If 3% wanted to, or fuck it, 1%. That would be 3.6 million out of the U.S. If 1% wanted to change what you're describing, Michael, at least here, right? I'm not talking about globally, although that'd be a bigger macro picture, then it would be done. But instead, you know, we say, well, there's nothing we can do, and the best we can do is vote. We're going to vote out to drain the swamp. And things have been getting worse and worse overall. Although I know people like to grab onto things like, oh, gas is down this week, right? Like, you know, eggs didn't go up in the last month.
It seems like people
way,
waste
is
a
that
lot
the
of
real
time
Leroy
talking
in
about
chat?
what they're for instead of actually changing what they can change, which is themselves. I mean, that's what you're saying, yeah?
Yeah, that's exactly it, CJ. And I'll get right back to you, iFight. So my point is that changing yourself is the best in positive way, right? Like the things that you can change, working on doing that. Although you could say, well, that's very micro. What is that doing to fix XYZ bill? Yeah, that's also being short-sighted. So changing what you can change, that is the important shit. And instead, people do the opposite. They concentrate on what they can't change. And iFight, you said something about the chat.
I was just asking if that's the Leroy Gaines, or is that just a...
I believe it is. I mean, I didn't, I don't know how to check the thing when I'm on.
Okay.
But yeah, unless somebody impersonating Leroy, that's him.
I just haven't heard from him for a while. I was wondering if he's still alive. Anyways, it's me. He says it's me. Come up on panel, dude. We haven't heard from you for a while. Yeah, I agree. We should convince people to change from person and then to, you know, the big picture society. But again, like I said, without a culture to lead them with, how do you think that's going to happen?
Oh, without one person to change it, how is it going to happen? Is that what you're asking?
Without any leader or example to follow.
Well, hold on. Let's not make a false dichotomy here. There's many examples and many leaders. The issue is that most of them are dog shit. But there are some good leaders, and I don't necessarily mean directly within politics. I don't like to get into it too much because I know it's murky and everyone ends up pissed off at me. But with that said, there's definitely leaders within society. I mean, we're on YouTube. There's not a huge proportion, but there are some people, I think, that are making a good impact, leading by example well.
Who do you think those people are?
You want me to name them right now on stream? And get them murked like Trump in the ear?
Can you give us some hints, like what communities they're part of or something? Or
Yeah, sure. So,
you can be
there's some
vague
that
as
are,
you want. I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
So there's some that at least, let's be clear about something first. There's no perfect people out there. The idea that, we're going to be saved by the perfect man or perfect women are around the corner, all of that is bullshit, right? So I think that people are good to different degrees. But with that said, I think on the higher end, I would look at somebody, I think you would agree with me, Ron Paul, right? And that was somebody in politics. And I think that he did, what he's promoted, even since I think kind of stepping out or at least out of the limelight of politics. I'm not really in it at this point. But with that said, he's still promoting good things. I'll give you an example. He promotes the idea of storing some of your wealth, some of your bank money, some of your rainy day, whatever it is, in silver. Most people don't have any silver. Now, most people might also have nothing in the bank account. And, people who do, I think, is on average like 10K, something like that, maybe less. But there's people with, 50K all in fiat currency. All that you're doing at that point is providing for the system by holding that tender and not having, again, no financial advice here, but not having some double digit, let's say, percentage of what you have within stored value silver. Gold and silver, as far as I know, the longest standing currency on earth ever in any country.
And it has real world value too. So yeah,
Intrinsic value.
It's a good one.
Much, correct?
What's that, CJ?
It doesn't fluctuate much like it normally holds.
Yeah, it doesn't suddenly, bubble pop or anything like that.
Right.
It's pretty steady.
Yeah, well, silver.
Unlike fiat, which can go to zero the next day. So it's a gamble.
Well, look, circa 2007 to 2009, around the time of the financial collapse, within a year or two, silver had seen from something like $15 down to $5 per ounce, up to $50 for a very short time. It might have been a day, but it was in 40s for more than that. Maybe it was weeks. I'm not quoting it exactly, but it definitely does fluctuate. And it fluctuates for many reasons. We're definitely not going to get into that today. That's way too much to unpack. And I'm not an expert in it, so I don't want to speak on it too much. But it has always been known as inflation hedging, right? Your dollar bills will be worth less money in 30 years by far, right? I mean, the last 100 years, how much has that changed? A dollar could get you a lot 100 years ago. A whole lot. It can get you nothing today. Nothing.
It used to be able to buy you gold.
What's that?
It used to be able to buy you gold. That's what the dollar note was. It was an exchange rate for like a bar of gold or whatever from our government.
I bought XRP at 50 cents. I was just checking the price. Apparently, I've lost money.
And Big Jake's Ranch, good point. Something I always know. And thank you for pointing that out. With that said, we, of course, are not doing that, but just getting into why I think the way I do about how I, what I get into topics and otherwise live streaming. These solution-based ideas, right? How
but don't
to
worry,
actually...
Jake. Biker gangs are still legal, and so is like little off-grid communities. So you should look into those things.
For now, yes, they are for now. And Lizard Tree, I'm working on it. I got a ways to go.
When are you going to start your meetups, Base?
My what?
I was messing with you, really, but like your cult meetups.
Oh, cult meetups. Yeah. Well, you know, those going to be members only, CJ. You know how that goes. But yeah, planning on doing Sundays, which obviously today is Sunday, but at a certain point for the cultist-based Oracle members only, right? The real cult members.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
At a
They
low,
gather,
low price.
Your Honor.
And Big Jake, I would think somebody who is kind of, you know, in the know, understands what is, may have, you know, again, double digits, potentially less than half. You know, there's a lot of variables. How much of you is liquid? Do you run a business? Outgoing expenses versus savings, right? There's a lot of variables. But having a substantial amount, to me, is bare minimum safety for your money. And look, there's upside and downside, right? If you have it, you also have it. You have to put it somewhere. You don't want to get robbed, right? So I'm not saying it's the perfect only solution. I'm just saying, for instance, the amount of people who do, and I realize it's not most people, but the amount of people who do have 10, 20, 50, 100K in the bank, IRAs, even more, few 100K, which isn't a ton of money, but it's substantial, obviously, that have no silver, precious metals, gold. To me, that's fucking crazy. That's having all your eggs in one basket, and the basket is fiat currency, which is continuing to devalue. And it has been for centuries, right?
And what's even more crazy is people that don't have arable land and the ability to defend it. So if you don't have those two things, even little metal bars aren't going to save you. So,
and no, King Philip, I would be in for buying now. And I'm not telling you what the fuck I'm doing, but much like everything else you've said, pretty much the opposite. So I'll assume you're like me, and you're just so sarcastic that it's like a gaslight. So anyways, with that, what were you asking earlier, CJ, about we're getting into, I mean, it stemmed from the micro of the Izzy and iFi
Oh,
back
yeah.
and forth.
I guess it's really what I said earlier about how it doesn't seem realistic. It seems like every time anything topic is brought up, it's like a desperate attempt to make it political or something. I don't
Cultural.
understand thinking like that. Like, because I've never seen it.
politics is downstream from culture. So if your culture is set up to not be a patriarchy, what do you suggest?
I'm not in the biz. I don't think I'm like as worried about changing culture.
I would make it good iFi. That's what I would call it. I would call it good culture.
I
Right?
make
It
it
would
the
be,
best.
you know, don't fuck your neighbor's wife, and don't steal shit, and don't poison yourself excessively. Right? We all poison ourselves a little bit, one way or another. Some people cope and they're like, no, I don't do any poison. You do poison. It's just a matter of how much and to what degree, right? There's a quantitative as well as qualitative metric you could look at, right? So if you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, that's not great. You know it's not great. If it's 2 a day, 2 packs, that's even less good, right? But if everything else about you is super healthy, and let's say that's homegrown tobacco, well, then you're probably still healthier than most people.
I actually like that stuff. The roll your own type tobacco is a lot nicer. I don't know if people know that, but I like it better.
And
Michael's last comment, again, if you don't understand how fiat works, just ask Zimbabwe or Venezuela how much their toilet paper is worth. So, you know, you can have 1 million zeros printed on your bills, but if no one will give you a penny for it, then it's worth 0.
And by the way, I don't know who was here when I started this stream. I have no idea what the turnover is. I assume it's high. But anyways, here's what I had pulled up. I was doing a little bit of talking about, you know, this debt counter, right? 35 trillion US, 100K per citizen, and it's hard to read, but it looks like 268K per tax-paying citizen. So I assume that is devoid of children or anyone not working. I don't know, but
I feel sorry for those chumps.
those chumps.
Yeah. Anyone still supporting the Uniparty, man, you need to get your shit straight.
Oh, I thought you meant kids. I was like, what the?
No. The taxpayers, the people who actually pay the taxes, those are the chumps.
And Rose, real estate is the best investment. I disagree that it's the best, and it can be a good investment. Certainly, land can be a good thing to have. An argument to that on the negative side would be, do you really ever own it? And maybe debatably in a state like Arizona, where I understand, I don't have personal knowledge, but I understand you can own the property and not be on this lifelong legacy of property taxes, or they take your property so it's no longer yours. But yeah, I think to me, Rose, the best is diversification. And I would include gold, silver, real estate, even some cash, believe it or not, a low percentage amount, but nonetheless, stocks, to a degree, maybe some in bank, some crypto, depending on your tolerance and what coins. I mean, there's many variables, right? But nonetheless, I think diversification. What's that?
You can't go wrong with Bitcoin. It's still the gold standard. So until something better comes along, that's a good default.
Yeah.
So
I will not give my personal, what I do, but yeah, I think that's like the most mainstream, right? If you were just getting in. And Lizard Tree, even the food can be poisoned, especially the food, especially when the food isn't really food, right? I don't think KFC is anything less than poison. Now, I'm not saying it's probably been a year or two since I had KFC at all, but I'm not saying, having it once in a while is the devil and how dare anyone. I'm just saying for a lot of people, that's their go-to. Like, oh, we're having dinner, we're going to get Taco Bell. That shit is poison, right? You're just poisoning yourself perpetually.
If only you had a homestead where you could grow your own food. That would be a wise thing to do.
Yeah. Oh, in my bed, Cam, I forgot, if you're Andrew Wilson, your doctor orders you smoke a carton a day. A carton a day.
Oh, yeah, for his gut biome.
Saved his life.
By the way, Cam the King, since you hate Bitcoin so much, send all your Bitcoin to me. I will take that burden off you.
Here, I'm doing this for you, Andrew.
It's good for your gut. Yeah. So again, back to Rose's point.
Hold on. Let
location.
me pause you on that. Rose. So, great way to make money. Well, here's the difference. I'm talking about wealth. I'm talking about savings, however you want to phrase that. If you're talking about investment, that's a different conversation, right? Because there are people who buy, for instance, gold and silver to make money. There's people who buy stocks to trade them. There's people who buy stocks, short them, right? There's lots of ways to skin a cat, and you can use different forms of currency for. I was merely talking about saving. Go on, iFi.
I agree with what you just said, and a diverse portfolio is the best rule of thumb, because everyone thinks that you should put all your eggs in one basket, and then they act surprised when that market tanks or something. That's why you play markets against each other, like precious metals against stocks or something like that. So I've done all the above. And again, like I said, fertile land and the ability to defend it. Those are the best investments you could possibly make, no matter what country you're from or what time period we're talking about. But
and
other than that, yeah.
Cam, when you say BS, Bitcoin is a psyop, let's say I agree with you to a degree. I still see it as less of a psyop than cash, money, fiat currency. So,
yeah.
And look, I wasn't telling anyone what to do. I think I was very clear on that. I was just saying diversification. Everyone has different tolerances and trust. If I'm not mistaken, I think that Uncle Guns is anti. I'm kind of taking from this that you're anti gold and silver. I don't know. But, look, I've done my research. I run my life the way I do. Not saying anyone else should. But I do think you're a nutcase if you only have fiat currency. I think you're a nutcase. So
I
I'll
do
leave it
find
at
it
that.
odd that everybody hits you with the buy silver or buy gold thing. Like it's like you hear that from every person.
Well, the difference with silver is there's really intrinsic value that I don't perceive gold as having. Right, the use within electronics, the fact that, and maybe some people look at this as woo-woo, but it's a fact, I guess, that germs cannot live on silver. Right, I'm not saying that's a selling or buying point. I'm just saying, for instance, silver does have intrinsic value. I think that it's a good deal, but that is highly speculative. Other people
And gold is
completely
used in
disagree.
electronics. So
Well,
you
yeah,
have to
gold
have
is as
real world
well.
applications.
Just stop believing in germs, and then it don't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a germphobe, I'll tell you that. But I always wanted to get a real silver set of utensil, like a dining set. I think it's like 10K. You know what I mean? I don't know if I really want to, or be in a position want to drop 10K on silverware, literal silverware.
I did
What?
hear
I
that's
thought
where
it'd be cool.
Silver Spoon came from because they didn't get diseases. Is that true? Like from eating with the silver?
That may be.
silver
I
spoon?
mean, I don't know that historical example. That may be.
Yeah, I heard that from some retard.
Mm.
But speaking
And-
of land, before you go
Yeah.
and buy Arizona property, just remember you can't survive off a cactus, so you might want to find something a little more temperate.
And maybe somewhat to the point or against it. Primal, this comment, and I think the one before that was leaning towards this. I think this is a very valid point, Primal. It's not always, I guess I'll say, superficially, as people's values are fucked up, right? People generally, the Gen Pop, when I say people, I mean Gen Pop, they think that somebody's valuable because they have a Bugatti. I'm trying to make a discrepancy here. On the other end, what you're saying, right, having real world skills, taking care of yourself, knowledge, whatever it may be, can't be taken away, right? So to your point, I agree with you. Invest in yourself. Sure.
And also to that point, a lot of the youth today are growing up thinking a skill is having like 100K subs. And so
Right,
if you're thrown out in the forest and you have to survive in nature, your 100K subs aren't going to save you. So,
It almost
definitely
seems
a
to
good
me,
point.
though, if I can twist the knife, that if you really wanted to accomplish some of the things you said, you would look at the world more like Base is talking about and preach what can these people do about themselves. Because most people aren't fixing the world's problems. They're just trying to get through their life. You know what I mean?
And Dominic, my bad, I didn't see you in the back there.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I agree with Base most of the time, dude. We're not debating or anything. We're just like razzing on each other.
And hey, Rose, you are correct. You're correct. We'll just say that. I misread, interpreted. Yeah. Reading a lot of comments. I do a lot of reading up here.
Also, he's joining my biker gang, so we're cool, dude. We're not like enemies or anything. So just in case you got confused somewhere.
I didn't get confused.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
And Dominic, can you hear us?
Domincio. Dominico. You're muted, dude. You have to unmute yourself. You did it for like 1 second.
Yeah, you unmuted. Oh, there you go.
Hey, Base. How you guys doing?
Very good. How are you?
Pretty good. Great topic.
Yeah. Were you coming in at the well, we kind of went on many topics now. The men, women into patriarchy, devolving, capital protection, politics, improving yourself. We get around.
Culture, patriarchy, silver. What floats
Currency
your
is
boat?
quite interesting. Currency is quite interesting.
Yeah. Do you have some
Start
thoughts
talking about
based on?
fiat currency backed up by. Well, yeah, there's a shift going on. The American fiat currency kind of crashed in 2005. to the dollar.
Yeah.
When when you factor in your pensioners, you're over $300 trillion in the hole. So at that point, they've already moved most of their shops to other countries. So again, this is just the empire moving around right now. They're going to use their digital
Yeah.
system with a credit system
Yeah.
on it. This goes hand in hand with the European currency.
So one of the kind of meta points I was making, referencing what you're talking about, is I think most people, I mean most people, can't connect the dots. They're distracted by narratives that are fed to them to the degree that they think they understand concepts. There's so many people that think they understand the economy and don't have a fucking clue when it really comes down to it. And my perspective on me in regards to it is that I'm well aware that there's no way I could, truly evaluate the economy. I mean, we can see the binary, right? Things have gotten worse. We can look at many different signs. I had pulled up here earlier. I think I still have it up. The world debt counter, I'm sure you've seen this. But just showing, 35 trillion in debt, 104,000 per citizen, 268 per taxpayer. That's $250,000 for the average taxpayer, average in debt. And in the long term, I mean, people get too distracted, like, well, milk didn't go up over the last 4 years. Yeah, but we're another 8 trillion in debt. Like, where do you think, do you think magic is going to happen? Like, do you think we're not going to have to pay the piper?
And those stats usually are based, they don't include future pensioners or military. So that's just an upfront.
That's true, right?
Deficit. Actually, they figured it out. It's over $300 trillion in the hole. Once you start figuring all that out.
300?
Yeah.
Wow.
$300
See, I
trillion.
didn't even know that.
That's why America in 2005 was valued at 9 cents. Hence the bailout in 2008, and hence why fiat currency has been used in the ruble and the yen to finance America through that whole time. So now those currencies are devalued, and they're putting the gold standard on those currencies.
Yeah.
So that's the shift that's going on here. So again, people have to understand America and fiat currency are two different things.
Right. One thing I say quite often is people, again, generally I talk like the GP, most people are looking at all of these different sort of pictures, narratives, the economy, politics, in terms of checkers. And they're missing that this is chess, and this is like 4D chess.
And they're controlling the outcome.
What was that?
They're controlling the outcome. It's kind of like a gentleman's game, but it's a twisted gentleman game. They understand the outcome. So in this case, it's like when they speak with their politicians, they say things we hear to represent the people. They're not talking about the citizens of that country. People means nobles. This is where they talk about passing a budget. Why would a country pass a budget? Because they're collecting tribute from everybody, hence property tax. If people understood how the system works, they would look at the Dow Jones and say, that's really small. This is generational games that they're playing. They're just moving to a new currency, that's all. And we aimlessly go around using their devices.
And what is up, Mel? Mel in the house. And you got something pulled up here, iFi?
Yeah, if you really want to lose some sleep, read that paragraph.
Are you going to read it for us?
Yeah, I'll read it for you. In fiscal year 2024, maintaining the U.S. national debt cost $956 billion, which is 17% of the total federal budget.
Can I read it in my radio voice?
Of our federal budget is just trying to pay off our debt, which you just pointed out is already up to 35 trillion. So not good. That's what people in the business called not good. It's not a good way to run a business.
But it's a good way to run an empire.
Isn't
so, like I said,
isn't there a
fertile
term for
land
it?
and the ability to defend it. That's the best investment you can make right now. But yeah.
Isn't that term from Wolf of Wall Street Grenada, right? Like it's a closed case. It's a slam dunk. But in this
Yeah,
sense,
something like
in a
that.
fucked way, right?
Mm-hmm. Dead man walking is what I would call it. But yeah.
Now, again, without getting black pill, because the other side is much brighter, is I do believe the more people who, again, work on improving their own micro pictures, like actually put effort in, inspire other people around them to do the same, and that slow change, that is, to me, much more effective than going to the voting booth. We vote with our time, our money, attention, and we do have the opportunity to vote at a voting booth. Many people have gotten mad at me. They're like, it's your duty. Well, here's the thing. I spent 4 years in the military. I did a duty that most people didn't do. And I've gone into that, sort of the pros and cons, things that I think about looking back. But nonetheless, I don't give a fuck when somebody tells me that's my duty. I'm more concentrated on what I can see is the more important facets of the big picture, which are, again, voting with our time, money, and attention. People vote way too much for cigarette companies, fast food companies, OnlyFans, right? We go on and on. Way too much with their money, their time, and their attention. CNN.
I guess basically it would probably serve people to, if they really wanted to cast their vote, how their system is working in their countries. When corporations are ruling governments, it's no longer a democracy. So corporations don't have any international borders. So McDonald's, Starbucks, all these other corporations do not pay taxes. So again, that's something for people to understand.
Yeah.
And then of course, hopefully people can understand things like allodial titles and all that, where America's still being ruled by the monarchy. So those people that have all those buildings either have allodial titles or they have membership fees. People that are in clubs pay a lot of high membership fees. Unless you're something else, like you're a duke or a baron. That's the only way you're going to actually rule land. Outside
I'm
of
an
that,
emperor. Does that count?
And
Sure.
welcome, Leroy. What up?
What's happening? How you doing?
Long time no see. What's been up, dude?
I've been traveling, dude. I spent a little time there in Greece, and I just got back to Australia there.
Oh, okay.
Speaking
Monday.
of fucked economies, was everything free in Greece? Did they still charge money?
Nah, bro. Fucking everything's expensive as fuck, man. Because it's holiday season out there. So it's actually quite brutal, to be honest with you, man.
I thought everything was free in Greece because they've been bankrupt so many
stealing.
times.
Yeah, I love that about Greece. They were just like, "Oh, you want that money back? No, we're not paying it back."
They're like,
the answer is
Yeah, I'm gonna
no.
dip, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're not doing
CJ.
it.
Thanks, man.
Gangster.
So did you finish your world tour and you're ready to come back to the YouTube?
Sort of. Well, I can't work for the next 3 months, so I've got like nothing to do again, even though I had like nothing to do in Greece, but it was just awkward times. Now I should be free like every morning for the next while. I'm just going to do some cash in hand work whenever I can, because traveling has been fucking expensive, and I've been
no
like
shit.
hemorrhaging coin, man. I'll essentially not have been working for 6 months. So I've just been eating like a house, hemorrhaging fucking money. But I still haven't got my work-in visa yet. That could take like another 3 or 4 months. So I might even have to dip from Australia and go to like New Zealand for a month or something. I don't know what to do, man. I'm all over the show. But yeah, I'll be in this sphere for a bit because I have nothing else to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Glad to be
we're we happy to have you over here. And
Welcome back.
Jody says, Leroy.
What's
and my bad. Don Juan, Plague Zero, thank you for the super chat. I'm gonna make this make sense. What's up, y'all? Demencio? Am I saying that right? You crying, bro? I own land. You have anything to say to that, Dominic?
But how much
Um,
land, Don Juan, and can you grow vegetables on it? That's the
Well,
million
I'm glad
dollar.
to contribute to your base, give you $1.99. I guess it depends. If he's paying property tax, he doesn't own it. And I'm playing with the idea of ruling. Now, if he has a allodial title, again, you said it earlier, you would have to actually man it. You would have to have guns or people that you pay. So anytime you hear property tax, that just means tribute. You're paying to big corporations. Governments collect it, and corporations reap from it, and there's generational wealth.
Hmm.
You know, again, anytime you see all those high-rise buildings there, you got to understand are those club members that own what's on the property, but they're not ruling the property. This is why when Russia, they're fighting Ukrainian, that land was taken over by the Tsars family, by the Vatican. So when people understand how land works, it's rulers. Those wars have been fought centuries ago. And I'm always emphasizing on the word rule, lords. I'm not talking about owners. You know, even all the city roads we have, you know, some people might call it crown land.
Now,
the reason why they
let
call
me
it crown land.
let me ask you something, Dominic. From your perspective, what do you think it would change within the individual? So going to the micro picture, and we're just going to say for most people, if they understood what you're describing to the level that you do. So this is a highly subjective question, and that's why I'm asking it.
It's for the few base, not for the many. Most people are consciously ignorant. So
Right.
I don't
That's
share
how
this.
I take it. Yeah.
What they're going to do with it. You know, people have been, you know, this is why when people pay capital gains, they say, yeah, you got a silent partner. You know, these are the same generational wealth families. So it's like fiat currency.
Even
you understand it.
Well, hold on, iFi. Part of the reason I asked, and I'm glad that you said that in a way to at least lead into this, is I've had conversations on here, topics as broad as, should all people have the truth, right? Now, the truth doesn't exist, but for the purpose of, the truth exists in some terms. Some of it we call objective, some of it subjective, and the objectives are subjective. So it gets very muddy. But the point is, you're saying, if I understand correctly, this isn't for all people. This truth, right? Because you're purporting truthful narratives, ideas, what is reality, isn't for most people. They can't handle it or shouldn't handle it.
No, it's not even the truth. It's just to explain how a system works. You know, I'm never going to actually say it's the truth.
Okay.
It's a system. Subjective objectives is when you're talking about language and you're trying to describe something like the material. So we don't see the words that we describe onto objects. In this case, you don't see the word tree when you're explaining it. That's that concept of subjective objective. Again, a lot of people aren't aware how the conscious mind works with the subconscious mind. But anyway, that's here or there. And I'm talking about what most people work for. They're going to spend most of their lifespan fueling a vessel, sheltering it, and not realizing it. But is it really you? This is where people that are in different kinds of, they understand this stuff. They understand how the unknown works with the known. You know, people get divided with the concept
Connecting
of a
the
country.
dots.
Yeah, I'm an American, I'm a Canadian, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, all that kind of stuff. That's divide and conquer stuff.
Right.
And the few that grasp that, well done. The rest of them, now they're going to continue what they're going to do. They'll argue about their emotions or their mental capacity. Usually, most times, they're not developed in those areas. Hence, Christ consciousness. But you're talking about currency. You're talking about currency, and so I'm just explaining it. Currency is energy. That's always shifting. So when people say they want to make a change, well, you have to be aware change is constant. You don't see air. It's always there.
So currency would be potential energy rather than kinetic in term?
Thoughts are energy based at that point. This is why when people say question things.
Yeah, I was just going to reference, I did a stream the other day about cult and really just call everything a cult. And although I don't have a problem with all cults, right? I don't have a problem with any specific religion. I do see, for instance, I do see them as very divisive in a term, right? There's debates, debate bros shit, ortho bros on the right religion. I mean, I fight. You going down this path, Leroy? I don't know to what extent you all have, but we've talked about it, and I get it. Everyone who, I mean, the more down they are for the religion, the more they believe that is the one religion. And the divisiveness, I think is a problem in the macro picture. But that's not to say that I think all religions are bad, or more so people of religions executing what they believe is the way based on the rules of the religion, right? The books, Bible, Quran, whatever.
Well, you want to keep in mind that one of us might be right, and so that being an option.
Yes, it's me, IFI. You fucking know this.
The unification ain't going to save you, because unifying wrong people with the right people doesn't produce the right outcome.
So
every time y'all bring up divide and conquer as if that's the enemy, it's like, can't we all just get along?
Well, no. Okay, so let's bring it back a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Division is the biggest problem within the U.S. right now, and potentially the world, but I'm in the U.S., so I'm speaking of the U.S.
And also not a big enough problem in certain cases. So that was my point.
So we need more division in order to queue up the bad times to get closer. Is that right?
So, like, think of the country as a living organism. So, if you have a cancerous tumor in your body, you don't want to unify with it. You want division. You want to divide what's killing you. And so once you get back to the living material, then you can, braid each other's hair and sing Kumbaya. But in the meantime, there is a reason why there are divisions, and there are very good reasons at that. So that's what I was saying, which Leroy's already agreeing with me. So see, half of us get it, but the other half are catching up.
I was going to say something almost identical. It's just like, these aren't people that you want to unify with. When you have people that are like the polar opposite of you, it's like, well, we need to get rid of them because they're not cohesive to society. So once we've got rid of them, then we can play Kumbaya over our small differences.
Exactly, Leroy.
When we have polar opposite differences, it's just like, well, no, this is never going to work. Get rid of them. Get them.
So to Steelman their position, I agree with Leroy. Once we get down to the minutia and the details, we can bicker and argue about that stuff. We can say like, okay, well, let's all unite. We're all Americans. Some of us want red colored rooms. Some of us want blue colored rooms. That's fine, but
no.
Can't have
this is surface bullshit. Well, hold up. This is surface bullshit. And now you're talking about specific means to get to a result. Why don't we bring it back to value, right? What do we value? I don't give a fuck what you look. Hold up. I don't give a fuck what you look like, your height, I don't care about any of that shit, what color your hair is. But do you value, for instance, your own life? I would argue most people don't. And therefore, most people don't value other people's lives because they don't even value their own life, right? And this is not a binary, as with all things, pretty much. I'm saying to what degree. So I talk about in the micro poisons, right? The more that we're poisoning, the more degrading we are to ourselves, the lower we keep our own self-standards, right? Don't you think that doing that is sort of a lack of caring about yourself?
So that would be an example of something that doesn't need to be created division over. So what you define as a poison, your neighbor may disagree with. And so, and more important to the point, the
so
core
my neighbor
value,
is retarded?
Hold on. The core value of the freedom to choose is more important than convincing your neighbor that he's poisoning himself. So even if he is poisoning himself, that's his freedom, his choice. It doesn't affect you. Things that do affect you is more to the core values problem. Like, again, what societies value as far as like the foundation of their society. That's the stuff we can't argue
okay.
about.
Let's talk about the U.S. Let's look at the school system, right? A facet of it, public school system. Clearly, we don't value children. Very fucking clearly. Very clearly. All right, let's bring it back to unaliving fetuses.
when you say we, like we've collectively all put our energy and thoughts into this, because I would say generally people do care about children. I would say there's just the well is poisoned to some degree, and unfortunately the people at the top are making bad choices that are less favorable towards children, but people as a whole do care about them.
Yeah, at the top, but what about at the bottom? Although I don't know, I know what you're saying. Like they're the top in terms of they have their fingers on the trigger, they have the means, the money, the power, the kind of invisible hands. And I was talking about this earlier, the idea that the people generally couldn't stop that is just not true, right? That would be defeatist black pill. Oh, there's nothing people can do. And we're not going to get into what people can do because we can't do that here. But if 1%, if even 1%, I don't care what religion you are, what race, culture, if 1% who gave a fuck enough truly pushed back, it would be gone.
The fuck was that?
What was what?
There was some like weird fucking like post lady on some like weird bike device I've never seen before, just riding across the grass in my front garden. I was like, what the fuck is that? So. Yeah, I know.
Put the camera on her next time.
No, yeah.
Show us next time.
Yeah, you got to show us video.
I can't even remember what you said, man, because I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
I'm just saying 1% of U.S. population would be 3.5 million, something like that. If 1% wanted to stop it, then they could. We could. But people don't. Not even 1% are willing to stand up, put life on the line. And I'm talking about men, obviously. I'm not talking about women and children. I'm not saying they're excluded, so don't get mad, feminists, even though you're probably mad all the time anyways. But no, I'm just saying we are allowing it. That's what's happening. I agree that they are doing what they are doing, and it is bad. But the idea that we have no choice, no options, is not true. I have an option. I could do things. Now, I realize I would be about a lone survivor, right? So I'm not really trying to do that. And I'm definitely not trying to do it for a bunch of people that don't give a fuck.
So does this not come contrary to the point you were saying earlier? Because this to me sounds like people care so much about their lives that they're not willing to do anything about it.
No.
So I feel like people would be putting their lives at risk to go and stand for something that they, possibly believe in, but they're so afraid of their lives being at risk that they're not willing to do that.
Well, I know what you're saying. I get what you're pointing out. And maybe, but hold on. I think the idea of living on your feet living on your knees rather than dying on your feet. I'd rather be alive on my feet and die because I cared, right? Than live on my knees, where I would argue that you're not really living on your knees, are you? Yeah, you're alive. You got your fucking iPhone and Netflix and Cheetos, but I don't know if that's quite what I would consider to be life. I mean, technically, sure, you're living, you're breathing.
It reminds me of that bald guy Cypher from The Matrix. It's like, I don't know, dude. Like, just plug me back in, man. I want my fucking steak. Like, you know?
He's like, I don't care if this steak isn't real.
Yeah, but you're kind of looking at people who do see life for what it is, because you see some people
start a red pill community or something, Leroy.
Yeah, no. There's loads of people that you ever see some people, man, and they're just like a bit simple, and they're just like they're so blissed through life.
Yeah.
Because we discuss all these fucking matters all the time, it's just like, and it weighs heavy on you, man, and it kind of fucking makes you sad, like, you know what I mean? Because you have all these big existential questions that we're fucking asking and talking through, and then you see some fucking simpleton just being like, "Life is fucking bliss today," because I have a
And that's
fucking
the
ball I
general
can pick up.
population, so that's the problem, Leroy.
No, well,
Comes with a
maybe.
bit of jealousy, man. I'm like, fuck's sake.
There's a Venn diagram to explain this. I don't have it, but I'm sure it exists. And what I would say is what you're referring to, Leroy. I have seen it. I know what you're referring to. I mean, I think we're talking about the same thing. And that's sort of the point I would come at. Earlier I was talking about, yes, they are doing, the up top are doing what they're doing. We are, not pushing back. We're allowing it overall. And in some terms, I think that the manipulation factor, the premise that these leaders went with, was in part the technology. I'm not putting this all on technology, but the implementation of technology as we know it now, to keep people distracted, to keep them divided, right? There's a lot of animosity that comes out on social media that wouldn't come out in real life. I've seen people talk to you on here, on stream, that wouldn't have talked to you like that if you were face to face, right? You've seen this. We've all been there. So my point is, I think there was foresight by some of those leaders to know that, as we're less and less in what I would call the simplicity, right? Sheltered in a way. Well, I don't want to say sheltered, but just not a part of degeneracy that exists prevalently in these parasocial societies. So I think it actually is the other way around, where that simplicity before this level, the internet unadulterated as it is now, everything the way it is, I think is a downfall. It's complexity in many ways. I don't think it's simplistic. But if you want to refer to the simplicity of being doped up on all this shit, if you want to call that the simple life, then maybe we're talking differently.
I would say, yeah, I understand what you're talking about, but I would say I'm talking more so of people that are just like blissfully unaware of the fact that there could be any nefarious sort of things going on, that there could be any hidden agenda, that there could be people at the top that are, people could just be blissfully unaware of all of this. That's sort of the people that I'm talking about, not people that are just so doped up that they don't really have a fucking clue because they're just, so deep in their phone. I'm talking about people that are just like
living in the country.
Yeah, and just worked relatively hard all their fucking life from and just got on with things, you know what I mean? Have no connection to the fucking internet and stuff like that. They've just kind of got on with things. They're the sort of people, because I used to fucking go to school with people like that, man. And there's a lot of them out there, dude, and they've got a fucking sweet, man.
Yeah, so I think I'm with you on this. I think that our Venn diagram is overlapping more than not. So when I look at sort of the opposite of what you're talking about, the ignorance is bliss, is people in general, I think this is the GP. I don't think it's blissfully ignorant. I don't think people are very happy overall. But with that said, if people... shit. I lost my thought. What was I going to say? What was the
Ignorance
last part of
bliss.
that? Yeah. Sometimes my brain, it goes into CPU overclock, and then I got to
That's
pay
all
the
right.
price.
Just be
I
ignorant for a
also
little
didn't
bit.
say blissfully ignorant. I just said like blissfully unaware. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? 'Cause they
So,
just don't keep
okay, I got it. So what I was going to say is I think that most people are not blissful, that they are aware, but they're aware of sort of the breadcrumbs. They don't see the real picture of what's going on. Not that anyone has the whole picture, but I'm saying to some of the depths and degrees that I'm going to say we are broadly speaking on and agreeing on, not that we agree on everything, but sort of the core concepts, the power structures. So most people, I think, are not blissfully ignorant and instead are outraged they're absolutely outraged. But the problem is they don't know what the fuck it's at. They think it's just at LGBTQ, or it's just at the Federal Reserve. You know, all these different sort of breadcrumb surface nuances. And it's almost like having a little bit of information is a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, you have just enough to know that something's wrong and be outraged, but you're targeted up on the wrong target, right? You're scoped up in the wrong place.
Yeah, if you look at like an infection, like you may have a rash, but you know it's something interior that's actually causing the fucking problem, and you're just annoyed with the rash.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. So instead of people getting rid of the rash, right, solving that disease or problem, instead they're putting Band-Aids on, buffers of sorts, right? And I've done this. I think we've all done it. I'm not saying that I don't do it and everyone else does. We all slip. But with that said, being cognizant of it, I think is the first step, right? Is the first step of actually dealing with it, right? Having that awareness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The ego and outrage, like, oh, this is all Trump's fault. No, it's all Biden's fault. And it's like, bro, there's so many levers in between the real moneymakers, power structures, and them, that it's sort of crazy that you're this upset about it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, it's not so simplistic that it's one thing that is causing all the faults.
Well, what about
so
evil?
Multifaceted.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's nothing you can point the finger at and be like, it's that thing's fault, unless it's something as simple as a cat knocked something off a fucking table, you know? But then even that, you can probably break that down and be like, well, you shouldn't allow the cat up there, you know what I mean? Like, it's too easy to just point the fucking finger. We should stop pointing the finger and try and find solutions instead, you know? But that's probably a really cliche, boring thing to say.
I'm pointing the finger at you, Leroy.
That's fair enough, man. I regularly point at myself and point at other people.
Well,
in fact,
yeah.
I love pointing the finger.
Well, this also, I think, lends to the idea of what I was talking earlier, right? Same stream, that people too concentrate on what they can't change instead of what they can change, right? So you're referencing in the micro for you, right? If you're making positive changes for yourself, and granted, one could say that's subjective, but I think it's rather objective that, sort of in a binary sense, eating fast food your whole life, every meal, to moving to whole real foods. And I think, I don't want to speak for you, but I think is a gym rat of sorts that you would align with this, right? And of course that's in terms of gym progress muscle, but have you not noticed, for instance, your brain, your body outside of just muscle development working better, your life being better in some terms from some of those changes, right? Because you've talked about some of your past versus where you've taken it with that. I'm not saying that working out is the only answer, or that eating clean is the only answer, but I'm saying, for instance, most people don't do either of those two. And we didn't even get to the other shit, right?
Yeah, just having the fuel, I think, is pretty fucking important. If you're eating shite, then you feel shite. I actually got really high in grease at one stage and ate like Cheetos. I've never even eaten Cheetos before, man.
I like Cheetos. I stay away, but I like them. Yeah.
I had some spicy ones, dude.
Oh, I was going to ask you, were they flaming hot or the jalapeno?
Yeah.
All right.
And then I had like a bottle of Fanta or something like that, man. And then I had some Haribo, and about an hour later, I felt fucking shite, man.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, everything I eat's pretty fucking good, like shit, man. But I felt like fucking horrible. I was like, I need to stop doing this, man. Like this isn't for me. But I think, yeah, having the right fuel in your body, I think, is like one of the most basic things that you can do. And if you can take a step back and like evaluate how you feel after like a week of clean eating, you're just like, hold on, I feel way
it's like a detox,
better.
Right?
Yeah. And then if you add on top of that, then go into the gym, do the same thing, like evaluate how you feel after like 2 weeks. You're just like, hold on, I feel way better. And if you just keep adding small things into your life like this, you're just like, hold on, I'm getting better. Just like
Yeah.
gradually, like improving, and I feel better as I'm.
Well, he feels better as he disco.
He feels better
Well-
until the internet doesn't feel him anymore.
We'll see
Anyways,
if he
yeah.
load back up.
Good points being made. Was a lot of people can't even get the basics right, and then they're worried about
Right,
the more
right.
complicated stuff. So yeah, I agree with that. You are what you eat. I think we've covered that many a times. Precious bodily fluids. Am I just gonna host the show now? All right. So join my biker gang. It's called Conservataria's Angels. We got all the best foods. We got the all natural, organic, non-GMO, free range chickens, grass fed beef. Don't follow BO to the desert, or you're just going to be eating cactus all day. Come on over to Conservataria. We got fruits and veggies for you.
Fruits and veggies. Fruits and
Yeah.
veggies, good. I'm cooking right now. That's why I had to. I guess Leroy dropped off, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think
internet ate 'em.
these were, lending towards good points, right? Actionable things that you can do on stream, right? Flo was I mean, I think he was on here a few days ago, or maybe I was there, and he said something like, "Yeah, I'm sure if I took some of your advice, I don't know that I give advice, but just talking about some of these things, that it probably would be good for me, right?" And it's like, yeah, it would. And the one thing I wanted to say to Leroy, or at least regarding what he was talking about, is you notice when he said, I did this thing I don't normally do, right? Had the poison, we'll say vaguely, and how bad he felt. Well, think about people who are used to it. They don't feel bad when they eat it. Well, they do, but you don't know because you're used to it, right? If you were born a certain way, not that somebody's born into McDonald's, but for instance, if that's what you had your whole life, you don't know anything different. You don't know how much better you feel by doing more of the right thing. I say more of because a lot of people try to turn this into, oh, well, you're telling people to be health nuts. When the fuck did I say that? I've admitted things that I do that aren't healthy. But then on the other side, people are like, look, see, you're not healthy. And again, it comes back to you. Are you doing better for you than you used to? If the answer is yes, that's called improvement.
You can't accuse me of being a liar because you told a lie once in your life, BO. So you
That's
can't
true.
accuse
I
anyone else.
I have told a lie. I've done it.
So let me catch up chat real quick. Don Juan Plague Zero with the 199 IFI. I have read Aquinas. Have you read Aquinas, Don Juan? Because we're having a book club meeting in Conservataria, and you have to be a member to get in. We can talk about Aquinas there. Big Jake's Ranch. Where is Conservataria located? That's a good question. So Conservataria is located in the hearts and minds of all the good and intelligent people left on this planet. In America, it's probably near fertile land, because you can't grow shit in the desert. So look for green grass and trees and stuff like that. Clear drinking water running through streams. My climate is pretty warm. So, if you're one of those Eskimos, you may have to make a lifestyle change, but it may be closer than you think, Jake. So you never know. It might be right in your backyard. So keep your eyes peeled. But we got a motorcycle gang starting. It's called Conservataria's Angels. We're waiting on Primal Studies to make the logo design for us, and we'll be taking new members on here pretty soon. But in the meantime, back to BO's point, my homesteading communities will solve all of your health food needs. Again, when you're growing all your fresh fruits and veggies and greens and your livestock is, not being injected full of chemicals and stuff like that, and they're just out there having a good time in nature, drinking clean water, eating natural foods like grass and bugs and whatever. That's the way we're supposed to be eating. But the mega corporations and the fascist governments and stuff, they've done screwed up the whole system. So that's why y'all are so dependent on like fast food and over processed stuff from even the grocery store and stuff. You have to hunt like you're looking for treasure in the grocery stores these days just to find some healthy food. So I think there's a better, easier way to do it. And so you're getting warmer, Big Jake. You found some of us, so keep looking for all of us, and then we'll let you know.
If I can expand a little bit on the food.
Yeah, what's up? What's up with the food?
Well, you said earlier, you are what you eat. Now there is, when you eat domestic game opposed to wild game, two different things. Again, if people want to be aware of this, in the old days, there's a reason why they used to have different days associated with different colors. So to understand when to eat certain types of color foods, play a value. You being a farmer, I'm going to assume you probably still follow the lunar and the solar calendar, so people know when to plant their crops, when to graze their animals. That all brings value. An honorable killing of removing the person, that spirit or that live being out of that animal, so you can eat its flesh, brings value. This is where hunters understand about a clean kill, because you don't want actually that blood to be tainted. So again, if people are going to talk about the vessel and what you have to eat, those things are out there. That information does bring value. But for most people, they're going to go to the corporations, including myself, and we're going to probably eat our foods at the wrong day, wrong moment. So again, that's one thing. If a person goes inwards and try to understand all that kind of stuff, the old term, by the way, their naivety is our bliss. That's how the term was spoken. Most of the masses are naive. Hence the concept of conscious ignorant. When you wake up in the morning, you're in a conscious state, playing around with the senses. You should be able to challenge those senses. Am I really seeing, is it the sun and the moon, are they material? Or is it consistently material here? And those could be images. Same with the clouds. What are they? Again, this is all the schooling system work. It's dumbed down a lot of people, and the language itself is even dumbed down. But anyway, carry on.
No, that was interesting. I didn't know about the color sort of the nuance, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, just the way my mind works. I kind of look, right, everything has a purpose. We don't know what all that purpose is, but it is interesting sometimes to see the dots connect, at least for me. And I find it to have utility, right? I can't do what Dominic was describing, but maybe I can to a degree or at a different time, right? I still think it's good to know, if so facto.
You're probably familiar with the concept of eating fruits and vegetables that are in season. And so that's kind of lost in modern times because we've, over processed and preserved and frozen and all kinds of things. Back in the old days, obviously, they just ate whatever grew that week or that month or whatever. And so that was a neat way of nature kind of helping you out, reminding you that you got to like cycle your diet, because again, you can't just eat one thing and be healthy. You got to eat like different vitamins and minerals and, all that stuff. So good old nature helping you out.
To that point, maybe in a more meta sense, do you think that sort of instant gratification has played into that quite a bit? Like, even if people did know some of these things, they still wouldn't do it, right? Because the basic things we're talking about, most people don't do. They don't give a shit about. They cope about. They talk about, it's less expensive to get fast food, right? Like, healthy food is too expensive. And that's absolute bullshit. But it can be true in terms of, if you consider healthy food has to be filet mignon and lobster, then okay, I guess you win, right? But there's a lot of healthy food that you can eat that's not more expensive than fast food. Oh, I don't have time to cook it. You do have time. you spend that time and then some going out to get the fast food, or the money, time, energy spent in ordering fast food, right?
It's also a myth because there are many, many super healthy foods that aren't that expensive. Again, sometimes they take a little time to prepare or to learn how to, to eat that dish because, some foods require certain steps. But again, you're right. It's that instant gratification. Either it's quick and easy or you're not interested. And so that's why McDonald's wins every time because it's always right there ready to go.
So here's what I'm saying, not in the quantitative sense, but qualitatively, the way I look at it is generally instant gratification you're going to pay for later, right, in the long term. So meaning a lot of things that we do out of instant gratification are actually bad for us. Although in the moment we can say we're living, right? I'm really living it up with my fucking 4 scoops of ice cream on the cone. Like, oh, and that was a small.
At that
And
point,
you had
but
donuts for breakfast.
at that point, then you're talking about the other diets, not just the physical diet, but the emotional and mental diets. Most people with that gratification, that's the emotion, and most people aren't developed emotionally, let alone mentally. So again, when people say, Dom, I want to practice a diet, I say, okay, you better make sure all 3 of them are aligned. Hence why they call 3-dimensional beings: physical, mental, and emotional. But most of us don't develop those cycles. The first 7 years, you're supposed to be weaning off of milk. You're supposed to be drinking human milk. You're not supposed to be drinking cow's milk or sheep's milk. There's no memory in that. This is why people have low calcium. So again, most of us have been manipulated from the get-go. The next 7 years between the age of 7 to 14 is the emotional development years. Those are called the child-rearing years. You should be able to stand in a conversation, a person is insulting you or complimenting you, and you think, well, that's interesting. But most people are triggered. They're not triggered by somebody saying something negative. It's because they're attached to the positive. You complimented me. Yeah, that's how I got you. Again, this is where people start developing. This is why they talk about Christ consciousness. You're mentally developed and you're maturing emotionally. But most people aren't mentally or emotionally developed. They become scribes or scholars. They don't actually use the midbrain. That's the brain that you're supposed to work on. Yeah, carry on.
I agree. Men cannot live by bread alone. That's part of the equation.
So I think that's interesting. I don't even know what to call it. Information, and it's intuitive to me at this point in my life. Now, let me ask you, what say you for the person? I'll say, right, man or woman. No. Let's make this man who's, let's say, 30 or 40 or 50 and still didn't figure this out. And maybe not even just this concept, but let's say, to your point, the overarching being highly triggered.
You talking about GS?
I would say
No, he's talking about me.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is you were talking about developmental stages. And I'm no expert. I'll just say that's all correct, right? We agree. Well, what happens when somebody has poor development during those ages? Is it over for them? I mean, I have my answers, but I'm asking you.
No.
No, there's always room for improvement.
Well, how?
Well, not even that. No, there's not necessarily just room for improvement. You can also find someone that's just willing to put up with your faults because they have their own faults. You know what I mean? Like, you can find someone that will balance you out, will help, I don't know, cater towards that, let's just say.
But do you want to be with an enabler, Leroy? I'm going to have to push back on that one.
What do you mean by an enabler?
Because he just pointed out a flaw a person has, and you just rebutted with, well, find someone that is okay with your flaws and can live in sync with it or something. That's
because not
form. But
not well. If we're talking about a flaw, that's because it's because of a development issue. Well, that's not necessarily something that's going to shift at all, easily. So why not find someone that is just okay with it? Do you know what I mean? It's like you might have someone who's like, you know, has a fucking disability or something like that they can get fixed. But there's like, oh, why bother with them when they can just get that fixed and then I'll fucking deal with them? It's just like, well, if you're willing to put up with it, like, what's the fucking problem?
So I want to interject to say, to me, the way I interpret what you're talking about, the kind of back and forth on that with iFi and Leroy, is if your values are aligned. And again, nothing in the dichotomous sense, right? I say that over and over because I think a lot of people get caught up in, oh, you're saying good, bad, right? There's a lot of gray area. So with that said, if you can handle to the degree that you are both fucked up, right? My friends and I, we all fucked up. Everyone is fucked up. Everyone has problems. But as to your point, we do tolerate each other, right? We're along.
Exactly.
But when you say enabling iFi, looking at the kind of gray area spectrum, I think enabling would be to the degree of we call it bad. I'm not calling my friends who are fucked up in different ways than me, or maybe similar and different, bad, right? Because we align in core values more than not.
So that's the question. Is it a core value or is it like a minor detail that we're talking about? That's
Well, it depends. It was your example.
I would say the enabler goes into the core value realm where it is objectively harmed by anybody's standards. And so there are people that are struggling with that, and there are people that enable that, and that's why they get along so well. And that bleeds over from our society at large, because we have this idea that, like, you know, telling people they're doing something wrong is judging them and we're making them feel bad. So we should always support people and tell them what they're doing is fine and they're good and okay. And then you have like body positivity and all kinds of fun things that arise from that sort of philosophy.
Yeah, I think this is kind of angular conflation. I mean, you're going down different sort of side paths with this. It's not just good or bad. Is it enabling or not? Let me say, can you give a very specific example? Because I'm about to go down one myself. So before I do that, give me one example, just an example.
We'll start with yours about a man not exhibiting the qualities that all men agree on is a core value of being a man, being control of his
hold up. It's already bunk. Not all men agree on anything.
I think most of us can agree on what the core values of being a man is.
No,
I think most
you
men
are wrong.
agree on fucking anything. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you
You're
talking
definitely
about?
wrong. Bro, people trying to figure out what a woman is, what a man is, and you think that most people agree? Like, I don't know,
What
man.
is a woman-based oracle? What is a woman? Can
She
you
got a
answer that
vagina
question?
from birth, or she identifies now. Who knows? It's a spirit. she got a feminine spirit. I don't know.
I think you're actually making my point for me, Base, because you're seeing how you were just disagreeing with me about.
Oh,
what a
you
man
think
is.
most people are based? That's your fuck up. Okay, I got you now.
No. I was saying that you were trying to say that, you know, most of us can't agree on what a man is, and that.
Okay,
So that's why.
Hold
you
up.
brought the
Most of
example
us
with woman.
on panel. Hold up. Most of us on
Okay.
panel. You're right. There's 4 of us. At
Okay,
least
what about
3 of us, but probably 4. But when you're
what
talking
about
about
your
society,
audience?
well, hold on. You're talking about society, the GP, the Gen Pop, who are fucking retarded. They drugged up to the highest degree. Most people, the average person.
Even people drugged out of their minds still know what the basic values of what being a man is, and maybe that's why some of them are drugged out of their minds, because they're wrestling with their own personal failures in life and stuff like that. So,
Sure, that could lead to that, but in between would be lack of discipline. Again, value, core value, which you're saying that we all agree on, but to your own point, we don't. Because if your core value is enough that you're, for instance, using I don't know, heroin, do you think that you and I align? Now,
Based
by
on-
the way, I'm not saying that we can't ever align with somebody who is a drug addict. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying in the moment, if we're looking at now, you're saying right now, I think most people would agree. I don't think most people agree on the shape of the Earth. Well,
Okay,
actually,
let's
probably
take-
most
let's
think
take-
it's round, but we can't all get together on it. But anyways, what is your bigger point? Because we could be on this all day.
use, once again, your example. So, drug use. So, if your drug use interferes with your ability to provide for yourself and your loved ones, again, that's a core value that all men understand and agree that you're fucking up and you need to, make it right. And so, and you know that yourself. You knew that before you started doing drugs, that if you are so heavy into drugs that you can't do whatever, harvest your crops or whatever to stay alive. Again, most people know what these core values are. They know what it means to be responsible, a leader, all those things.
Guys, can I tap in on the words you guys are using?
I have
Whether-
fucking no idea what you said, man.
When people use the word core, you're talking about your midbrain, your gut. Most men are predisposed with the masculine energy. That's the programmable energy, and they usually use their upper brain. Women are predisposed with the midbrain. This is where you get the concept of intuition, intuitive, and insightful. That's the teachable energy. That's the wisdom energy. Now, unless people understand words, each word, each number has energy behind it. So when somebody keeps saying over and over again the core, they're talking about their midbrain. It's like when people talk about being scholarly, they're talking about a certain hemisphere up above. This is where the king and queen sits. Again, this is more indoctrination people use, but they just don't challenge those things. And again, what are the things? Thoughts. What are afterthoughts when we speak and when we write shit down? What the writing does to the hemisphere plays with you. It's like the diode inside an LED light. It takes humbleness when a person realizes, know thyself. The self is the ongoing program, which people call the matrix. The ego's the vessel. Dare not ever understand that you're not the vessel. Because if you are, who's running your liquids right now as you're speaking or hearing me? That comes to awareness. Outside of that, what most people do is they're consciously ignorant, as other people would call it. I know it's an insult, but it's valid. The Walking Dead.
How did you find all this information out?
It's
Because you're
also
saying that
within.
most people don't. What, sorry?
Well, unless you're prepared to do, like some people might do drugs, other people do long fasts. A lot of people go inwards and realize I don't get caught up in my likes or dislikes. I don't care about right and wrong. It's like watching sports. You don't get caught up in the outcome. Once you
Yeah.
understand,
How did you find all this out? You're saying that most people don't realize all the things that
They
you're
don't.
saying.
They
So
don't.
how did you come to these conclusions then?
I just try to share with you. Sometimes it's fasting. Some people do brain altering substances. Some people go through some
But
tragedy.
that's why I interjected, because you said some people. I'm just asking.
I'm some people.
How you came
Leroy,
to
At that point,
Okay,
I'm
so
some people.
You can
I'm some
understand why I
people.
got a bit lost when you said that, then, because I'm just
let me
asking specifically
interject.
you.
Let me interject to rephrase. Can you pinpoint what it was for you, or do you think it's a combination of things that you're talking about would be for some people? What you're referring to?
Basically, it would probably for including me. It's a combination of a whole bunch of other stuff.
Okay.
You just can't.
All right.
When people even do hemp, they have to understand when are you doing it. Are you doing it on a Monday or a Tuesday? Most people just do it to escape, opposed to doing it. No different when people do fasting. You have to understand the luminaries. But again, for most people, this will give people a true understanding. Are they honest with the self? Forget about truth. Truth is its own energy. Same with what's concept of air and prana. This is about being honest with the self, with the program. Once a person's honest with the program, then they can start looking at, I get caught up in all my likes and dislikes. You can play anybody chess that knows how to play chess if you're not caught up in winning or losing. But most people are caught up in the outcome. That's the division. Right. But again, I'm just sharing out loud, guys. Thanks, Leo, for asking those questions.
Yeah. No, bro, I genuinely, I don't really understand what you're saying. I understand, the tonality of what you're saying, and I think I get, the picture that you're trying to paint, but it's just all the words that you're saying to me just sound and don't take any offense to this because I really don't mean any. I'm just really blunt. I don't know how else to put it. It sounds like loads of hippie buzzwords that I've seen like loads of people use, and I'm just like, I don't really get this. You would really need to explain to me in like different language for me to be able to like in your language resonate with what you're saying here, because it just doesn't make any sense to me. And especially because I have to take everything that you're saying just on the fact that all this has just arrived to you through states of being that you have been in personally. It's just like
I
that
think
just
I
seems
can
like
answer
a lot
this,
to
but
grasp.
I think I could intermediary this, but if you want to, feel free, Dominic.
I think Leroy is doing quite well, actually, when he's explaining it. Again, we're using an English language. You have to understand the energy behind the English language. It's a meaningful language. I get what you're saying. You keep saying it over and over again. Understand. It gives the way. What are you standing under? Are you under the mind? Are you under those conditioned programs? I'm just sharing out loud. What people do with this information, that's on them. So in this case, you're asking me on a public platform how to elaborate all the details. Okay, here's one. Do you want to do a 40-day fast?
Not
Are you willing
really.
to challenge the? Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Are you
again.
willing to challenge the ideal that do you need that much food? Most people
Well,
aren't ready to do
there's
that.
a difference between need and want. I don't
True.
need that much food, but I do want that much food at the moment just because I'm trying to do something.
Okay, so then at that point, who's the one that wants? Who's the one that's lacking? Hence the word want. Who's the one that's lacking? The vessel, the mind, the brain, or do you think they're all the same? Okay.
Mic check 1 2 3. Can you hear me?
You good?
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Wait, what? So you're asking me, are my wants a combination of those? Well, yeah, they would be, because throughout like my nervous system, that tells my brain what it is that needs be or done or whatever it is. So yeah, I would say it's a combination of all of them. Then I have like emotional needs, and then I have physical needs. Yeah, it would definitely be all of them encompassing and under one thing.
So at that point, we're tapping into the concept of Kabbalah, all the different receivers that we have in our body. You know, that's why I was talking about the midbrain has many receivers, upper brain has other receivers, the heart has its own receiver, and you have blood guts going to the heart, which is memory. This is why some people can consume gold. This is why gold is valuable, or silver. You know, you do a long enough fast, you might even play with the concept of urine. But
what does that have to do with gold and silver? What?
Alchemy. It's a conduit, hence the term silence is golden. So,
Gold's
you know, when
pretty
you
much poisonous to all humans. Just because you can build up an immunity to a poison doesn't make it good for your body.
True, I feel. No, you're right. To most, but there's some people. I'm not saying I'm that way. No different when people do blood transfusion. Why are they able to pick up the memory? Again, this is about awareness. This is not about one person can do all things.
Yeah, are you trying to tell me alchemy is the thing now? What?
Language is alchemy. Shape-shifting the materials is another version of alchemy.
I think
which
alchemy
version
has
of
a
alchemy
specific
are you talking
meaning.
about?
Okay.
Which version of alchemy are you talking about?
Alchemy is the ancient belief that you can, like, you know,
Turn
change
lead into gold and
lead
shit.
into gold and stuff like that, because they didn't know how chemistry worked back then, and so
Yeah, that's what I. When someone says alchemy, that's instantly what I think. That people are
Yeah, the
talking.
material.
that's the only meaning of the word.
Yeah. But what about the language? Sanskrit is its own alchemy. What about Greek? It's a comprehension language. What about English? That's alchemy. The symbols, but the energy behind each number, behind each letter, that's alchemy. The spiritual meaning
What do you
of material.
mean energy? So, like, are you saying if I write the number 9 on a piece of paper, that bit of paper is then charged with energy?
Yeah, the number 9
energy.
energy. The energy of number 9 is the spiritual meaning of material. Number 8's the infinite number. It's the material.
What
Again,
if it's a naturally occurring 8? What if there is a rust pattern that makes the perfect shape of an 8? Is that imbued with the power of 8, or is that because there was no effort and will put behind it? Like, what is it that? What is it that, like? What gives it the energy? I don't understand, man.
Well, you have an intent.
Again,
you have the intent.
Intent.
Sure.
So why do you even need to write it on the paper if you just even have the intent in the first place?
Well, there's the oral part and there's the written part. The oral part is probably more superior than the oral part. I mean, the written part. You know, pen to paper is what's called history. So when you write something down, are you going to write it left to right to left, up and down, scroll form, book form? Those are all different ways how to actually play with energy. So now when you speak, depends how you speak. Are you going to play, are you going to do poetry with background music? Again, this is all alchemy. This is how people understand energy. Now you can talk about like singing bowls, Reiki. Again, that's all energy. Anyway.
So I was about to ask, Roy, are you taking this as are you hearing in terms of woo woo? Is that it?
Oh yeah, this makes no sense to me. This is
I was gonna.
Again, I don't know how else to say it, but it just sounds like
I'll take a shot, Leroy. Hold on, Leroy.
Like I don't think that I don't think you have any like bad intentions or anything like that. I think this is just things I've seen throughout my time hanging out with loads of like really obscure people, and this is the same sort of jargon that they talk. You know, they have white people with dreads.
Can you share what your religion is? By the way, I'm just curious. I just want to know where you're coming from.
Religion, state, not interested in that. Commerce actually runs them all. But go ahead.
Just agnostic in general. Would you say?
No. That's a lot of I am. Again, that's more attachments. I'm not interested in that.
So you can't describe your religious beliefs, is what you're saying?
Why don't you just ask if he believes in God or a creator?
Well,
you're not going to be a lawyer and ask the same fucking question over and over.
Do you believe in a deity or a god?
Is there a source out there? Energy, yes. Is there a belief system? I'm not concerned about that. Okay. Sounds like you're concerned about a belief system. But I was raised Roman Catholic, if that's of interest to you. Roman Catholic religion.
I was,
but I'm not interested in that.
That doesn't have anything to do with alchemy. So okay.
Well, hold up. Pause before you say what you're going to say. I was taking it when he's talking alchemy like written to oral, meaning it's a transformation, and I think the literal sense of wait, you're saying you can change words into gold is sort of misrepresenting that. So I see where there might be a disconnect. Well, maybe I misphrased that. But looking at that as woo-woo, we'll say that it's not alchemy. I think that's more of maybe what you would deem as or maybe one would as a
I don't know. That's like
saying it. No,
reading is alchemy then, because I'm taking this from written down to being spoken aloud. That is a transfer of energy. Therefore, reading is alchemy. Like, why not just say reading? So we're all on the same page.
That does something to the hemisphere. So when
hold on, let Dominic go.
Yeah.
So if I'm hanging out with you guys and I'm showing you a tree and I say that's a sequoia tree, you're going to associate, look at it. I say, but where did you see the word sequoia, let alone tree? That's called in the unknown. So you're experiencing more things in the unknown opposed to the linear experience called the physical. This is the subjective opposed to the objective realm. Yin and yang, wisdom and understanding. Again, these are just duality games. So when I say white fridge, you're going to look at something. The word describe gives it away. You're describing something, but you're not actually seeing the thoughts. When you write it down now you're actually doing a craft called spelling. You're engraving inside of you. Oh, I'm seeing the word. I said, no, you're not. You're seeing something that's scribed on a piece of paper, black and white, if you want to use colors, in this case, shades to describe it. Most people are unaware of that stuff. They just kind of pass by it. That's the conditioning. It's like me telling you who taught you how to breathe. Your parents didn't teach you how to breathe. You know, you could fast for 30 or 40 days, but how long can you go without the concept called breath of life? Again, this is about awareness. This is not about belief system and knowledge. You know, knowledge is for children, as far as I'm concerned. But hey,
is it about language?
Yes, go ahead.
That's it. Is it about language?
Everything's language at that point. I feel, senses are languages, body language, Braille, American Sign Language. Each of your senses are a way of languages. So now when I'm speaking, I'm using what's called consciousness. Thoughts are how do I put it? Thought is actually the language of consciousness. When you guys pick it up, where are you picking it up? When I say the word tree, you're not saying the word. You're receiving it. Where are you receiving it from? The liquids, the water, the blood inside of you? Again, I'm posing possibilities at that point.
So the problem with language is if we have agreed upon standard like English, for example, and you just randomly substitute words in the middle of your sentences, you're going to confuse your audience. So, for example, if I was conversing with Leroy and I said, "Hey, Leroy, I heard you like music. I think music is great because it's astrology, and that astrology is what mixes your vibrations into the rhythms of the soul and energy." And he said, "What?" And he's like, "Why did you use that word?" And so now I have to explain to him why I'm using that word.
Yeah. So to me, and again, Dom, I'm not trying to be offensive at all, but
No.
this seems really, really fucking condescending, because you're talking to me from like a place of on high, and then everything that you're talking to me, instead of saying it in like plain English, you're saying it in the most like convoluted way that only like the most niche crowd would be able to understand, and then it telling me like it's gospel to understand, and I'm like, what? Like, you obviously can explain this in other ways, but instead you've chosen to use all this extreme, weird, hippie buzzword language at me, and I'm like, bro, I have like, there's nothing that I can absorb here. I am none the wiser. My perspective has not widened whatsoever because I have no idea what you're talking about.
So,
Like,
so if you lose your audience, Domenico, you might need to rephrase what you're saying. I think is what Leroy's getting at. You lost your entire audience, Domenico. None of us know what you're talking about. We all know what alchemy means, and you have your own definition of it, and so maybe only you know what that word means.
I think that if anyone does, I do.
Oh,
right?
shit. Base knows what you're talking about. Base.
No, but thank you for speaking for me, Ifi.
But all right, sorry, I interrupted. Base, explain to Leroy what Domenico meant when he said alchemy, because Leroy and I have no.
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't pick another example. I just gave it to you, but I
yeah,
look
by
at
alchemy he meant reading, but again,
yeah, go and explain that to us, Base. We're still in the dark.
Well, I think he's looking in a different. I only he knows. I don't know what's in anyone's mind. But to your question, to your point, I think that he's looking into depths per se, and you're looking at the surface. And it's sort of like, why are you talking so in depth about these simple things or these surface things? When in a sense he's correct. That, you know, he mentioned something like, well, when we're speaking language, what is that? The water? Is it the air within us? Right? Obviously, physically, literally. And I sort of like where he was going with all this, but I see the disconnect. I just don't know if I'm quite transposing that.
Sorry,
well,
sorry,
me,
I spoke for you.
It seems like a non sequitur then, because like we're having like a conversation about specific topics, and then he's instead being like, "Well, what about the language that we're using?" This is like, what has that actually got to do with the topics that we're talking about? So it just seems like a complete non sequitur to then like preach to us about like, you know, how he's in touch with all these vibrations and fucking.
Well, I disagree. I think this is, look, Leroy, we talk about the micro and the macro, right? You've heard me say those, right? And then there's the meta, right? Then there's the meta. And I think of this in some sense as the meta. And I think the way he's describing it, it's more like you're referencing the meta and he's giving you the perspective on the depth of reality. So I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong. I was trying to build the bridge of communication here.
Yeah, I don't know. I need people to speak to me in like, maybe I'm a fucking simpleton, but like plain, just generic English that people use to describe stuff. You know, if we're saying reading, say reading, not alchemy. Like, it's like, I don't understand how I'm supposed to have a conversation and back and forward with this sort of language. You know, and I'm here to learn. That's why I asked as many questions as I could there to try and understand. But I'm saying like, because you were able at one stage then to explain it in different language, it's like, can we not just continue the conversation like that so we don't have to keep having these conversations about the conversation that we were having? Can we not just talk in plain English so we can all understand. Because at the moment, it just seems like then Dom is talking to Beast, and Beast is half understanding what he's saying, and I find I don't have a fucking clue. Does that make sense?
I was going to respond, but he muted me. So, anyways, I think we're on the same
First of
page.
all, I did not mute anyone at all.
Someone did. Was it
No.
Dominico?
Oh, hold up. We got somebody. Oh, we got Joe Cool. What up, Joe Cool?
Joe Cool, help us out here, man. Nobody understands
If I
anybody.
can help Dom out, man, I think I understand what he's saying, and Leroy, I
course
think
you
I
do.
agree with him. And Leroy, I think you're right that he could be a little more. He could be a little more better. I suck it apparently too at getting his point across.
Yeah.
And he's condescending as fuck. You're right on both of those 2 points. But
Thank you.
But I think you guys agree. He's just not speaking your language. So if
I prefer
Yeah, but-
English.
Yeah, but what's the point of coming to a panel just to speak in a language that only you seem to be able to understand?
And
It's just
Bass,
like-
don't speak for
understand,
Bass.
and
that's
Leroy.
that's so
Sincerely
preachy and
trying-
condescending. It's like, what the fuck, man?
if
Like,
he's
just talk to
sincerely
me.
trying to communicate, he could try harder and use different words. We all
Exactly.
could.
Joe Cool, what you don't understand is the astrology of the subject
I
is
don't. I
above
don't
your
believe in
head.
that
So
shit
if
at
you,
all. I
if
do
you mix
not
the
believe in
alchemy
that
with your
shit, bro.
astrology, then you can understand what I'm laying
Listen,
down.
I don't know. I can't get behind everything, Dom. I thought you said motherfuckers eat gold and shit when I was in
Dominic, what say you? Because there's been a lot of speculation. What are your thoughts?
I've just shared how people perceive it. That's on them. I've already shared openly. It's for the few, not the masses. This is being recorded. It's Bass's channel. If he grasps it, well done. If he doesn't, what am I supposed to say to him? You know, we're here to elevate each other, not actually just go with the humdrum. But again, that's just me. I'm okay with staying silent.
Dom,
Okay,
these
go
are two
ahead,
different
Joe.
things. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be.
Well done.
These are two different things. It's not. If you're here to elevate a motherfucker, we're talking about the way you communicate with someone. You don't have to
Yeah.
change your message, right? But if you're speaking to so and so, speak the native tongue, and they'll understand your language better.
Yeah,
right?
think about the energy that your language has. Like, it's just bouncing straight off me. You need to change the tonal vibrations of the fucking energy that you're
So do
sending
you
at
think
me
it's just
so I
about
can
you?
receive it.
Question. Hold on. Do you think
Well,
it's just
not-
about you?
Not,
Learn about
not at all.
humbling,
Not at
humbling
all.
oneself. So it's not about me. I'm just sharing
I'm
out
already
loud.
saying that I know that it's not,
Okay, I
not
understand.
just about me, but when you're in a panel of 4 people, you're the one speaking, and at least 2 other people, well, 1 semi understands and 2 people really don't understand. Maybe it's about humbling yourself and then realizing that you need to change how you're speaking to people so that they can understand what you're saying, rather than just standing on your pillar talking down to the peasants below you.
Okay, so now at this point, I've actually been silent more times than not. I figured better for me just to stay silent. You kept on asking questions, and I'm realizing, why did you make it about you?
Give a
What,
few
sorry,
more
say that
lessons.
again?
Fuck the point, contention point. Give a few more lessons while I'm up here, Don. I want to see if I understand, if I could translate.
The word that gives it away, Joe. Understand oneself, not me.
Well,
But I'm here to
working on
understand
myself.
what it is that you're saying.
Yeah, I'm here to help others right now. I'm working on myself as simultaneously. Trust me.
Leroy, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Fuck's sake. Yeah, I get that a lot.
Listen, I think y'all agreed on this, that you can change energy. Leroy, I think you said you cannot, but I think that you think you can. If someone is hot, the Bible tells you a soft answer turn away wrath. You can change their energy, right? You can be a troll and make someone lose it. You can make them pull a GS. You can alter people's energy. It's a real thing.
I like
think
how
Don
GS
was
is an
saying that.
adjective now.
He GS'd me.
Speaking of language.
Yeah, hold up. When you talk about you can change somebody's energy,
Yeah.
that's, let's say you're correct, then
Yes.
you overpower them.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Meaning that not everyone's energy is changeable. Let's say to the degree, because there's no binary, right? There's no complete or none when it comes to this topic or in general, right? Nobody's going to completely change your energy. I don't know what that would even mean. But you're saying to a degree that's notable, right?
Well, the person, yes, I'm saying that, but the person depends a lot on it. Like, for instance, some people are worse at it, like a GS, and some people are better at maintaining their energy, like me, you, and I5.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is that at least from the perspective of archetype man, that would be accountability, self-accountability, in terms of nobody's going to change my energy. Now, you could argue, well, this person's really good at XYZ, and I'm not talking about Dominic, I'm just saying in general, manipulating, manipulative in how they're speaking, whatever the case.
Yes.
And therefore, it was very difficult for me to stay composed or whatever the case.
Yes.
But does that self-accountability not still lend towards you allowed it? Because you should be in control of you more than anyone else is in control of you.
We know that's how it should be, but we know that's not how it is because motherfuckers get millions and billions off of making ads and M&M commercials because people are so fucking pliable and easily bendable and swayed.
Well, I agree with you. You're saying most people, I mean, let's just decipher. You're saying most people are. But
Yes.
I don't want to promote the standards of most people, which are pathetically
You're talking
low.
about Dom now. You're getting
No. I am not talking about Dominic.
Dom, he don't want to promote the low standards either.
No, what I'm saying is, you're saying that he and I
You're on
don't
the
want to
same
promote low
page. I
standards.
think
Okay,
you and-
I thought
yes,
you meant I was
we're on the
referring to
same
him.
page. No.
So, anyways, what I'm saying is, I don't want to promote standards of most people, which, at least on this panel, we have mostly agreed
Totally agree.
fucking suck.
Totally
So
agree.
instead, in ultimate accountability, nobody changed my fucking feelings without me allowing it.
Right, I dig it. I would agree. That's man shit. That's what I do all day, every day. Is I try not to. I'm cautious where I put my influence because I believe in God. I'm a fan, and I think I have a duty here to make people peaceful and happy, and not want and desire and not hurt. So I do push and sway people. I tug and pull. At the same time, I try not to force myself on people. It's a balance. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
I think you're right. In societally, even if that's sort of a micro society, like your household, your family, your friends,
Yes.
then sure, balance. I agree with you.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the objective, at least. It should be, or at least for me, it is. Right?
I like that. Yeah, I think I'm the God. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna take one more stab at this, and then I'm gonna bow out of this previous conversation. So, Leor.
All right, that's enough of I-Fi. No. I mean,
Dude.
This Leroy's first night back. We can't be booting I-Fi.
Yeah. No,
All right, go on.
I'm the only one that's on Leroy's side here, so y'all.
Don't worry, I need no one.
Yeah, bring it back, I-Fi. Yeah.
So I think what he was trying to say earlier, Dom, was saying that words can affect reality. So obviously, we're not talking about words altering matter or anything like that, but there is the link between the mind over matter. And if you can creep into people's minds with your words and your language, maybe that's what he was referring to as some sort of alchemy or whatever. And so,
Dom, did he?
That's all I can guess.
Encapsulate what you said, Dom. I think I know what you're gonna say. I think you missed it.
Hold on, I gotta pause, everyone. Lindsay, I see it in the back. I applaud your attempt, but is what it is. So moving on.
Oh man, she's been
go ahead,
man.
Go ahead,
Who's
Dominic.
Lindsay? Who's Lindsay? I have no idea.
You're gone a long time. She's been banned, dude. She can't.
She's the new Spicoli? Fucking hell.
We're just gonna leave it at that. We're moving on. So Dominic, do you want to respond to Joe or I?
Somebody, Leroy.
Shit. Who said something? I-Fi tried to encapsulate you, Dom, if you remember what he said.
Was I close?
Was he close? If you remember, Dom, he said something like your words can change people, not so much change matter itself, but it can change reality, something along those lines.
No, I heard him.
What'd you think? Did he encapsulate you?
Hey,
Well,
hold
I'm
on.
gonna-
No, go on, Dominic. Go on.
I'm going to share what I heard. I'm always listening from within. So mind over matter opposed to brain over matter. Two different things. This is why I have the word meant, man, mind. Now, we can play with the idea of what is reality. Are reality only based on the senses?
I
What
knew you was
senses are
going
we
to go
talking
there,
about?
bro. I knew you were going to go there.
Again,
Yeah.
all words have energy to them. So I always tell people the word hear, ear, gives it away. We're supposed to hear each other, but you should be listening from within. This is why when people get into hypnosis state, what's the one that's actually there?
I think,
Subconscious
Dom,
mind.
Before you go on, Joe, toxic, no simping in the chat. No simping at all. All right, go on, Joe.
Dom, fuck, I lost it because I had a Lindsay comment now suddenly.
Simping ain't easy.
There's no getting away from drama. I think we got to a good point. I'm not going to end this randomly and not let everyone sum up their...
If I was next to you now, I'll floor you. I'll knock you,
You would
down.
do nothing,
Fucking
Harvey.
bitch. You don't
You
have
would
strong
shut your
arm, do you?
mouth, which you're having a hard time doing here.
Get fucked, you fucking son of a bitch. Who the fuck?
And that's why I love Base.
Based Oracle's in the building.
Base Oracle loves truth. So why, you know who you're dealing with. If you know your audience, why have lies so he can dispel them?
The whole Based Oracle, he's got people pointing guns at him from all directions.
But it's just like Oracle.
Lovely to see you.
It is lovely to see me.
I claimed it. I claimed it.
Hello, Beast. You are in trouble now.
What up, Base? Good to see you, bro. I saw you were on today, man. You cooking over there, bro. You doing good.
Hey, what's your name? I gotta write your name down. Who the fuck are you?
Because she didn't have to come for him. He didn't have nothing to do with nothing.
I'm breaking up with Flo, and Based Oracle is now my internet boyfriend.
No, don't give him too much credit.
No.
How is this?
Please.
How is it not real?
No, please. Fucking don't do this. I need to know who this guy is.
His name is Based Oracle.
If I got you flowers once a week, that'd be cool. But what if I upped it to once a day?
Then I would suck your dick every day.
That's your expectation.
That's reality. You like a perfect match, though. You a little bit white, I'm a little bit black,
But my pussy's real pink, though.
You're
Andrew.
fucking.
Which one?
You're fucking the moderator, bro. You're fucking the moderator.
It's this indigenous black beautiful man.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, Base. How does it feel to be the YouTube sex symbol?
Right. And that's why I don't have to eat box. You see?
I really do fucking hate you, Based Oracle. And if I ever see you in life, I can't tell you what I do without the device. I can't tell you what I do with this.
So, I slept with him once.
Who gives? God damn it!
I mean, quite honestly, Flo just sent me the link randomly and told me to jump on it. So.
Why you have to come for him, though? What you talking to me?
Because I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm just trying to be honest.
Well, fuck you, respectfully.
When did you realize that you thought of Based as a sex object?
His supporters are loyal, though, man. Like, Base got a really good following, man.
Had a lot of interesting things tonight, and I think any man would want to.
I think that any real man understands that he ain't got to say shit.
And Base, I was just saying, like, you got to give women more credit than you do.
No.
Based Oracle, he doesn't care about you. He pretends to, but then he understands that he's next to you because he's paid to be here.
Keeping ourselves stuck there.
She sounds like a good dishwasher.
I'll rock with Base Oracle, y'all. I'll rock with Base Oracle.
A normal, reasonable person would never in a million years respond with, I want a fucking tuna sandwich, a box of chocolates, and balloons. That's not what a reasonable person responds to.
I never. Whoa.
Based, you fucking wish you were me, dude.
According to your own fucking iconography.
You wish you were me.
You gonna forget you what?
I never even knew. I already forgot.
Absolutely
refuse. In your
refuse.
language, Andrew.
Trolling is my language?
Yeah.
Would you put a finger up your man's ass if he let you?
What
Hey,
the fuck?
Maybe me and Based Oracle agree that was gay.
Can you both agree that was a little gay?
Oh, you see, you don't think he's gay.
I think you're gay.
Literally, you get no pussy.